Hey everybody, welcome to episode 112 of the Bonehead Podcast, where we talk all things Blood Bowl. And jingle. Welcome back. I'm Ben, and once again I'm joined by Blood Tithe Ben. BT, how you doing?
Hello, doing very good, thank you. How are you?
Not bad at all, and we are also joined by fellow traveller and Bonehead, Miltonio Banderas. Milton, how's it going?
It's going good, thanks.
Apart from the trees.
Yeah, the hay fever's starting to hit.
I can't believe
other
it.
than that, all good.
We've come out of winter, and well, we haven't even come out of winter, and already it's like, now, different weather table. This one's all about allergies. And normally we would be joined by Trips, but Trips is just winning at life, to be honest with you. He's got a very busy week, and it's his daughter's birthday today, so they've got party shenanigans on. So bless him, he's been too responsible to come with us down to play Sevens in Nottingham. Up in Nottingham. Very much up.
Yeah, let's go up. Yeah,
very much up. And now he's missing out on the pod, but he will be back again very, very, very soon. Now, kind of spoiled the lead there, but BT, what's episode 112 about?
We're going to be reviewing Blitzing Sevens, which is the tournament we went to at Warhammer World. It's the first Blood Bowl tournament of the new edition. Is that right?
No, maybe the first.
No, it's the first weekday Warhammer
first
one,
weekday one. Yeah, I was going to say, because they've done they do the a couple of the guys there were talking that they've done the Super Bowl one a couple of times.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Which would be amazing. But no, it was cool to play weekday Warhammer. Blood Bowl Sevens was very, very cool. So yeah, we'll be talking about that today, and obviously the usual hobby and games, and some Blood Bowl news. See, I'm not good at this bit. This is why I always get you to do this bit. But anyway, let's talk Blood Bowl news. Okay, so Blood Bowl news from an official Games Workshop point of view. There is no Blood Bowl news, and there hasn't been any updates since the last episode. However, is it tonight? Is it tonight? The Adepticon preview?
It must be tonight. Yeah,
6 hours 33. I need your guys' input on this one, because if you scroll down, you will see the Adepticon preview has got Warhammer 40,000, the other Warhammer 40,000, the Warhammer 30,000, Horus Heresy, Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Squares and Shapes, Kill Team, and Underworld. So all featured there. There is no Blood Bowl. But there was that thing in the community, wasn't there? That post saying, you guys, don't forget you do Blood Bowl. And they were like, "Oh, Blood Bowl news is coming soon." I guess I have. Yeah, I know.
I don't know if that would mean this tournament. I think they're just saying at some point in the near future we'll probably hit something.
Do they have a history of like not following the slate of what they've published? Because I don't think they do. I don't think they did last year, did they? Like
no.
It was bang on exactly what was there. So
I'm being a bit hopeful, I think. Well, not really hopeful. But I tell you what's going to happen. I'm kind of glad, because this time last year is when the Norse team was revealed, which on one point was like, it was well exciting. On the other point, it was like 4 a.m. and I had to talk really quietly, not to wake up Tiff. So I'm kind of excited that I don't need to get up at 2:30 a.m. today. On the other point, I would bet money that I will be awake at 2:30 a.m. My body will wake me up and be like, "Hey, there's stuff going on, Ben," and it'll be really aggravating. I mean, like, let's assume there's no Blood Bowl news here. Okay. This is a Blood Bowl podcast. What's the next event that we might see stuff happening?
Oh God, I don't know what these events are. Is it Nova? Is that a thing?
When's Warhammer Fest?
Warhammer Fest. Yeah, that's in June.
Summer though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's summer enough for our noses to be on fire right now, so it's summer enough for Games Workshop to release the next blooming team.
It's early May bank holiday, so yeah, that's pretty soon.
Oh, okay, that's not far.
So end of April, early May.
May is full of bank holidays.
Yeah. May Day.
Well, because we've got the early May holiday, then we've got the late May holiday, and then we've got the King holiday, haven't we?
Potentially, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So it's, 29th of April to 1st of May. I reckon we'll see something there. That seems like a decent time. Like if it gives them time to do all this new edition for 40k that's totally rumored. And then
well, that
Yeah.
that was going to be my next point. Is like, okay, let's assume that the best game of all is not getting any news, because we're the best fan base, so it would be advertised. What are we going to see? What are we going to see at the Adepticon preview? Let's do some speculations.
I'm really sold on this new edition thing, and the rumors they're putting in now, like they've done like a whole new website, and it's like the pyramids and that. I've seen a lot of things out there is speculating to this new 10th edition 40k, which is odd. I think it's actually probably is about the timeline. I think just time's gone so fast. Probably is actually about now.
Was this edition during COVID? I assume so.
Just the start, I think. I think it was 2019, actually.
Yeah, in which case, like, no wonder it feels kind of quick, is because, you know, I mean, we know what it was like from a Blood Bowl point of view, of like, hey, here's a new edition of Blood Bowl, now stay inside.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, feels like ages. And from a 40k point of view, like that, if that's half the season, where they're all set that no one can play, then you don't really get the meta. I mean, I watched a lot of 40k streams recently because, I don't know, just it's fun to watch. It's like watching a Saw movie, isn't it? It's kind of like, oh, golly, I'm glad I'm not those people, but they do seem to be enjoying it, although they don't tend to be enjoying it in a Saw movie. But I would like to play a game. Yeah, I mean, missing half the edition is pretty bad, but I mean, we saw
it was 2020 actually as well. So yeah, it was like.
What the Primaris out before the edition then?
That was 8.
Oh yeah, no, they were 8.
No, they were. Okay, yeah.
I bought that.
8 was way back.
With
the Dark
human
Imperium.
money. Yes, I played a game of 40k against Craig, and then thought it was great. And then they did that classic thing of like, well, you've seen the first book, and then it's just kind of like, here's another one, and another one, and another one. And
yeah, man, when they did 8th edition with all the indexes, we just bought the index, and you had like every army. That was the best. That was the time when 40k was the most fun for me. It was just like no bloat. It was just pure game, and I loved it.
Warhammer Fantasy Battle 6th did the same thing. They transferred over and gave away this Ravening Hordes booklet with army lists for every book, and that was absolutely peak Warhammer as well. That was before they brought in the roll a dice to see how far you move, and it's like, oh cool, Monopoly with armies. When they changed the charger. Can you imagine how horrific would that be if in Blood Bowl you were like, cool, I'm gonna blitz, okay, roll 2d6 to see how far you can move.
Oh yeah, if you fail it, that's it. That's your blitz gone.
Spin around, point to a man, that's the man you have to punt. No, what is this? None of that. But no, 40k 10th. I mean, I would love it if it was just like it was just Space Hulk 27.
I think by the looks of it, that looks like what it's going to be. I think it's Terminators versus Tyranids. So.
It would be so funny if they did a massive switcheroo here. Everyone's like, oh, it's 10th, oh, it's 10th. Like, oh.
Well, they've just brought all the boarding action stuff. So, like, they're doing all the boarding action stuff straight into Tyranids, and it's very Space Hulk.
Yeah. Are we going to get new NID models then?
I think so. I think that's the idea.
What, like
range
the
refresh, like Necrons?
Like the Termagants and the Hormagaunts are like a very old kit, and they're rubbish. Like in terms of their structure.
Do you remember when they did new models for the Eldar though? That were like just exactly the same as the old.
I don't think I was born when. Oh no! Oh yeah,
no, recently.
Recently, like the last 3 or 4 years, they were like new Guardians. So I was like, wow, they look exactly the same as the old Guardians. They're just a little bit taller because everyone got taller, which personally upsets me greatly because that never happened to me.
You want it to go the other way. You want it to go.
I'm down here at 5'11" on a very good day where I'm lying. Okay, so Space Hulk confirmed for this one. That'd be interesting. I'm really excited to see the new edition of 40k. I mean, I don't think it will ever sucker me in. I think the boarding actions was actually quite a good way of doing it, but they've ramped it up. The speed has been so fast that I think for a lot of passive players that this stuff has to be around for a good year so you can see it before for a lot of people, like if we get like a second wave of adopters. And I think we've seen that for Blood Bowl as well. Like Blood Bowl released all the, old school players played it, and then you get like this second influx of everyone's playing Blood Bowl. 40k, it feels like they go at pace, and it's kind of like, everyone's playing 40k. Then it's a case of everyone's miserable playing 40k, which we saw at Beachhead. And then they're like, everyone's playing boarding actions. It's a new game, and boarding actions is gone.
No one's saying that.
What boarding actions?
I don't think anyone's playing boarding actions.
No.
Yeah.
The internet is. It looks interesting.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why I'm sitting here in my world of still sealed Necromunda models.
That's a real thing, though, and I actually feel like I really like the 40k universe and setting and everything. And every time I try and get into it, I'm like, by the time I've got myself motivated into a position where I can get into it, something else has hit, and I lose that momentum because it's just like, okay, there's another thing to learn. Nah, I'm okay. I'm good.
It's like Magic a little bit, isn't it? I'm going to jump into standard, and then rotation is just right around the corner. I mean, it's interesting that we can look across the way and see that happening in 40k. I mean, I think we had a really good discussion the other week on release speed for Games Workshop for Blood Bowl, and how I think the pace is good enough so that people can actually it's not like, okay, what's different right now, and it's a case of nothing. It's just a little more. Which hey, more Blood Bowl is more better. So that's 40k. Age of Sigmar. I mean, what would you want to see here?
I feel so out of the loop in Age of Sigmar, man. I can't.
Different game.
I think I put all of my spare resources into trying to keep up with 40k. And I'm just like, whenever I play Sigmar with friends, I'm just like, look, you're just going to have to tell me what I need to do. I'm just going to roll the dice that says on the sheet here. That is from a book that apparently has been replaced. And yeah, I don't know. I feel that doing both is really challenging. So I actually couldn't even speculate on this one. I'm out of the loop.
We talked about it on the ride up to Warhammer World a little bit, didn't we? Because I mean, I played Age of Sigmar. I don't know how they version it. I think it was 1 basically going into 2, so a bit of 2. The second sort of big rules release, and I enjoyed it for a bit.
That was before you got deported, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, when we were talking about it in the car, I was like, it just sounds like a completely different game, even from what was played back then. As in, the rules have changed again. It's become a bit more complicated. There's more things to consider. I mean, it's a great thing that the model range is considerably more extensive than it was back before I was playing, but it also sounds like that's come with a lot of extra complication because there's just so much stuff.
Well, this is the difficult thing I think with 40k is that there's only so many kind of different models you can have before it starts being de facto replacement, and that happened with the Sigmarines, right? Didn't it?
Yeah.
It was a case of here you've got your I don't even remember what are they actually called?
Stormcast.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You've got your Stormcast. Here's all your units. That's cool. And now they're gone, and it's gone. And now you've got
It's like you've got your
Sigmarines.
Stormcast with hammers. Now they've got javelins, and the javelins are slightly better. Oh, now they're riding dragons, and the dragons are slightly better.
Yeah, and they're just strictly better. It's a funny one. Now, that said, I will be completely converted if they drop a boarding actions for Age of Sigmar. Because that feels like a little excuse to get some models and play some games. So that would be really cool. Now, the one I really want to talk about, because there is a hype train here, and it's a complete lie and a myth and a dream. The Horus Heresy stuff. There's this. I mean, the guys over at Maximal Fire are absolutely adamant that Epic is returning.
I think I would pray this is true. That would be awesome.
Well, interestingly, if it was a new game system, it wouldn't be on the slate there because that would give it away, right?
And they have rebranded Adeptus Titanicus in with Warhammer the Horus Heresy in the last few articles.
Have they?
And they had that thing with the Warhound Titan with the different base that landed, and everyone's like, what does this mean? And then the picture got removed and put back in again, but with the base cut off. And everyone's like, this means new bases, this means Epic, Battlefleet Gothic confirmed, everything happened.
What was on the base then?
It was just a low profile base like with of a slightly different size. So the speculation is that the new base size is so that you can put units on them on the base, so that they become like playing pieces, like terrain as well, which is
Okay.
interesting.
So when you say like low profile, you mean like flatter?
Yeah, instead of
Yeah.
being this, it was
Yeah.
less than this.
Nice.
That's kind of strange for GW, isn't it?
There you go. That was aptly described by myself. So sorry. It's been a day of explaining numbers to people at work, and I don't know how to do it, how to be a human anymore. It's like, what do you mean it's less? I was like, well, it was this big, now it's not that big. Budgeting. Yes. Oh yeah. If Epic drops, amazing. I think if and when Epic drops, it won't be Epic. It will be a couple of Marines or like some Predators or something for Adeptus Titanicus, and I'm here to say that is very cool. Anyway, that's all they need to do, just to kind of like string people along for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Would it be plastic if they were to do that?
Yeah, definitely. With funky resin turrets available at the price of one child. Yeah, interesting one. And Warhammer Underworlds, I mean, they do great models, but I don't think I'll ever play the game again.
I thought they had a new set out, like a new box set, like last week.
I don't think it was last week.
No, there was a new something, wasn't there?
I mean, they feel like they get really regular,
It's
steady releases.
Vampire
I'm
and
just
Khorne.
imagining it. No, the Vampire.
No,
thing
that's
came out a
Kill
while
Team.
ago.
No, Warcry. Sorry, that's Warcry because I've got them.
Oh,
okay.
really? Oh, nice.
I've got the Khorne boys here. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm getting very bored
Yeah.
of seeing vampires that aren't Blood Bowl.
For me, like I find Underworlds just like extra Warcry stuff. Because I like Warcry, just like things to paint up. So when now the Underworld stuff is usable in Warcry, I'm just like, cool warband.
Yeah.
You can keep the cards.
I also like hearing like in the lists and stuff for Age of Sigmar, where those units actually get like as role players in there. I think that's really cool. Seeing that every now and again. So anyway, if Epic drops, if Battle Fleet Gothic drops, I will be squeeing. So apologies on the channel if I get a bit excited and carried away. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's just going to be more good stuff for those good games, for people who enjoy those games. And that is a pretty big win as well. I mean, it would be more of a win if it said Blood Bowl right there. But I'm sure our time will come. Right? Back me up here, guys.
Sorry, I thought you were transitioning.
Transitioning to hope. And it's now gone. Anyway,
I was expecting the little sting, like a little.
Right, there is some other Blood Bowl news in third-party world. There is another Cutie Malls team. I love how the Kickstarter numbers like tick over when someone's back. So it's really cool. From Grebo, from our friends at Grebo, they have released a Dogs and Cats Kickstarter. It's currently nearly at 30 grand. So their target sorted. 3 hours to go. Man, why that's a small time. That was a short window. Never mind. If you're seeing this on the podcast, it's already too late. That's not been on for a week, is it?
Yeah, 15th of March it came on.
Oh, that is a week.
Yeah.
I thought we agreed on this podcast that 4 weeks, like that a month, was the right amount of time for a Kickstarter.
A week is really like
very short.
Time. Yeah.
This is the first time I'm really looking at it. I saw the previews and thought, that's cool, that's coming, that's great. Tiff was kind of like, oh, yay, cats. And I was like, oh, okay, here we go. There's an angle here. And I was like, oh, we'll look at that when we come to do the podcast, and I might get excited and back it. And we're only 3 hours away from it closing down. They have got some creepy cats on here, haven't they?
Yeah, that's horrifying.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That's really creepy.
Not a fan.
Oh wow, the digital. I love the digital paintwork they do, though.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
I'm pretty sure. Is it? I'm pretty sure it's not. I think I thought the same thing, and then you see them paint it. They have painting videos of them doing it. It's not digital. It just looks it.
Oh, really?
I'm sure. I might have just dreamt this, but I remember thinking the exact same thing, that these are digitized, and then they actually have. Hang on, you guys can talk. I will find. I'll try and like see if I'm going insane or not. I think it's on their Instagram.
That's absurd. If that's real painting, that is just incredible. Anyway, what we could do is we could talk through the Kickstarter while Ben tries to regather his grip on reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So there is a Blood Brood, which is for Chaos, or Blood Chaos, in fact, with 6 Hellspurs, 4 Furry Furies, 1 Bold Beast of Chaos, and 4 Beelzebuli. This is the cats, so that's the Khorne roster. I actually do quite like the Cutimals teams. They've gone all in on this. This is amazing. And then there's the Doggo one, which is a human team. So 6 Line Pugs, 2 Basset, right? So 2 throwers, 4 blitzers, 4 catchers, a big boy, 3 Fling Huawas. That's good. I like that. And 6 Line Pugs. The dogs are great. I love those. It's the little sausage dogs for me that are just absolutely amazing. And the little chihuahuas. That's so good. Have you found it?
It might be digital. I'm seeing the paint job, but it's not the same. I think it is.
It looks too crisp and too cell shaded. To be digital.
No, it is. It is digital.
Like,
I take it back.
I see these graphics and I immediately think I'm going to have to pay 99p for some kind of 1,000 crystals to play this game.
For like Clash of Clans, yeah. How do you feel about Cutimals?
Me?
I don't think I've ever asked you. Yeah, but both.
I mean, let's go with Milton first. Oh, they've got
you know what?
faceplates.
Like, it's an odd one. I think at first I wasn't really a big fan, and then I actually played against them, saw them in person, and they warmed on me a little bit. I'm not sure that they're not my cup of tea, but I can understand the appeal for sure. Like, I get it. I think they would be quite fun to paint. I think they're a nice little painting project. They're something a little bit different. I'm not necessarily sure I play with it. I think my biggest challenge with them is that the positionals are not always really clear. I think it's the penguin one, which I think is probably my favorite look out of the lot. But I was finding it very difficult to tell which positional was which. That was really challenging. But yeah, besides that, they're all right. I can understand why some people like them.
I think I had a very similar kind of transition. Like, first of all, I was like, that's just like one of those weird ones that they have. But I mean, we've done a couple of reviews on the channel, and actually the quality is just phenomenal. So it's an expertly executed alternative way to go that really appeals to some people because, like you said, Milton, they're cute, they're fun to play, they're fun to paint, and there's definitely an angle to kind of potentially grab a different player base. And Tiff saw some of the cats and dogs and was like, "Oh, this is quite cool." And I'm thinking, this is quite cool. That's a good little angle, and they clearly throw as much resource making these teams as I think any company does for a normal team, and that's awesome as far as I'm concerned. Now, Ben, you're a big narrative immersion kind of guy.
You're a
right?
grognard, Ben. You hate fun, don't you?
Come on, Ben.
They're just really not my cup of tea. But I am in the boat where I'm just saying I understand they're really popular, and I've got nothing against people playing them. But I'm just saying, for me, these are just not really for me, and that's okay.
That is okay.
That's okay.
It's absolutely okay. Now, price-wise, what are we looking at for a team? £67 for the Chaos team, £67 for the human team, or a little bit more for some more stuff and a big bundle with loads of stuff. So actually 70 quid plus postage for a alternative team is, it's bang on what we expect for a third-party Blood Bowl team, right?
Yeah, much.
Which makes this very accessible and a very accessible alternative. Now, it's been a bit of a quiet period for Blood Bowl. We had the kind of the monthly Patreon updates in the last episode, and we'll probably hit on those next week. However, I've got something that's got nothing to do with Blood Bowl that I really wanted to show because I love this so much. Did you guys ever play Advance Wars?
Oh man, yeah.
In the olden times.
I love those games, man.
I love this so much. So this company has done a 3D printable. It's an Advance Wars rip-off. And I just wanted to show it because it just... we've got some files, actually, so they're on the printer at the moment, so that we can kind of print them off and have a look and see what they're about. I've dreamt
you got
of
them?
this. Yeah, I got some today, actually. Our friend in Germany, which is cool. I messaged him and I was like, dude, this is the coolest thing I've seen since I was 11. Like, I please, can we see some? It hasn't provided the rules yet. I don't think the rules are really written, so it makes me a little bit nervous as to how the game will actually play. But, I mean, it's easy to write rules for a game. It's very hard to make models, right? So I love this. It's cool. It's like this big Lego board, and you like print off each of the tiles individually and like click them on.
That's cool.
And
That sounds like there's a lot of setup. I'm not gonna lie, but it's probably worth it.
Well, I mean, it's a 3D printed board game. Like,
Yeah.
I think any 3D printed board game, their setup will be amazing. But I mean, there will be a lot. But this is just a really cool little like project.
So fun.
What do you need Epic for when you've got that then?
Yeah.
Can we play this like straight away, Ben? I
Yes.
really want to.
Yes, I've brought my test prints on the Mars 2 Pro, and then as soon as I know it works, I can just kind of like spam on the Saturn 2s, spray it up,
That's
get a game
so
on the go.
good.
I think it'd be really good fun just to play because
I love the planes.
the planes are so cool. You get little planes. There's a battle helicopter, a cargo helicopter with individual. They got like separate rotors. You have to print them off separately and stick them on. A bomber, a fighter jet, artillery, heavy tank.
The
It's
aircraft
just
carrier. So good.
There's mech infantry, but there's
They're just because Advanced Wars call them mech infantry, don't they, with rocket launchers?
yes, but I think it's down as mortar in the file, and I've got no infantry carrier in the file, and no scout. The scout's so good. The recon. I don't know. I spent hours and hours and hours playing Advanced Wars when I was younger. In fact, me, Ian, and Lewis Pugh went up to Scotland with his family, and the entire way there, we played Advanced Wars. Like, just
Do you have a link table?
no, actually, he had a GameCube Game Boy converter with a GameCube screen on top of his GameCube that was plugged in the car.
Oh my word.
Wow.
Yeah, and we took it
They
fishing
had a Game
with us
Boy, and then instead of playing it on the Game Boy, you put it into a GameCube.
and played it on a GameCube screen.
In the car.
So instead of the screen
Wow.
being this big, it was this big. But I tell you what, it was very special. We actually took it fishing. Ian made us go fly fishing in Scotland, so we all paid and got our stuff and went down there. And you know what? There was no fish. We got completely ripped off. So Lewis and I just ended up sitting down and played some more Advance Wars while Ian was there, like pretending that he knew how to fish. Ian Warhammer doesn't know how to fish. If you follow him on Twitter or anything, please just sort of mention that to him because it's bang on the money. But anyway, I wanted to show this because I thought it was a really cool thing. And if guys out there, if you're listening just on the podcast, Mini Tactics Wars is what it's called. It's on Kickstarter. It is STL only, and it just looks fun. He's doubled his goal of $1,000, and it just is pretty great. It's just retro. Retro. I don't know what the game is actually going to play like, but I don't care because I'm going to print a little table, and if I can't actually play a game with it, I'm just going to mount the board on my wall with the units and just frame it or something and just have this little 3D art. And it just makes me so happy.
That's so fun.
I want him to succeed massively so he can make a fantasy one. And then we can all like play Fire Emblem
That would be
style
cool.
game
That would be fun.
instead of just getting a ROM and playing Fire Emblem.
I've backed it.
Yeah.
I backed it. I always do this. We talk about Kickstarters on the pod, and during the pod, I just like, yeah, okay, I'll take that.
There is another one that I've also backed that is looking pretty good. It's called Warside, and it is, again, another homage / rip-off of Advance Wars, and it looks exactly the same as Advance Wars, and it looks like a PC game, and this one's also going, and it is just properly Advance Wars. So I don't know what's happened. Like, someone must have let the IP slip, or Nintendo are on holiday or something, because it's literally just Advance Wars. And I'm excited to play.
That so is. Oh my word. Yeah, that is just the same
That is
game.
identical.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. I can't wait to play a worse version that I've paid more money for instead of, again, just grabbing the ROM and playing it.
To be fair, they did, what was it? Chucklefish came out with Wargroove fairly recently, which is kind of similar.
Oh, yeah.
That was basically Advance Wars.
That's a good game.
Advance Wars with dogs.
It's a little slow. A little slow. Ah,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
our German friend who's making the Advance Wars ripoff will do a Wargroove ripoff, and then we can have like all the 3D printed bits that we don't need. Anyway, that is it for Kickstarter-y goodness at the moment. I have no doubt there'll be some stuff coming up, and we're just going to check in on tournaments. So we've got about 10 tickets left for Dorset Dungeon Bowl. So I think we've just maybe just at 40 tickets sold, so there is only 10 left to go. So if you are intending to come to, I'm so excited for a big old Dungeon Ball event down in Toyman, then get your ticket soon. But if you go to our website, bonehadpodcast.com, then you can find the rules set for Dorset Dungeon Bowl, and you can click on the tournaments bit, and it will take you to the tournaments page, and you can go and click that and see our events, or you can share a tournament if you've got a tournament you're going to, or you can find a tournament if there's stuff going on. And there is some stuff coming up, actually. We've had a load more submissions. We've got April Fool's Bowl in Doncaster on the 23rd of April. This isn't sorted because there is also Bruce Bowl coming up on the 22nd, the Bruce Bowl draft. So I need to fix this spreadsheet because there is something missing. Well, actually, I may not have actually given it a country. Anyway, head on over to the Bonehead Podcast site, check out tournaments, and by then I will have fixed it so that the upcoming tournaments are there. You've got all the links and everything so that if there's an event near you, you can click on it and find out exactly what it is. I think... Where is Doncaster? Dorset Dungeon Bowl 2 in Dorset. Chore Bowl in Lancashire. There's some good stuff there, and I'm hoping that, I don't know, I'd like to get to more events around the country because, I don't know, man, bit of a convert after our little trip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about that?
I think... I tell you...
Oh, no, we missed hobby.
I tell you, let's have a quick hobby check-in, but then we're going to talk about the real thing. Okay, so hobby, games, building, buy-in, you know, the usual. Ben, have you been doing anything very cool?
I've been decorating, as shown on this video here. Yeah, I've been working on this room for a little while, which has been honestly kind of like a bit of a dream come true. I really wanted this like kind of like really cozy gaming space because I play a lot of board games. I play a lot of games in general. And I was like, well, I went through so many ideas of what style to do this room, and some crazy, like the Toyman RPG room came into consideration.
Oh, dude, that's insane.
Yeah. Then I got to remember this is my house, and we have people living here. That isn't just me. And by people, I mean my fiance. And you know, guests come over, and it's like the spare room. So I thought I'll make it like just like a cozy space, get some sort of light academia, dark academia themes, a bit more neutral. Yeah, and so I just kind of made like this gallery wall because, I mean, a gallery wall is a great way to hang frames if you can't be bothered to measure. So you can be just like, it's art, and drill some random holes in the wall and be just like, yeah, what fits? So yeah, I went and probably spent way too much money on art.
Oh, and picture frames, man.
And frames, yeah, it turns out not cheap. Some I managed to get secondhand, but
these are
many.
real frames. This is not just IKEA frames.
No, well, yeah, none of them actually are IKEA. A couple of the Noun ones. But yeah, like what was quite cool with this is I wanted small pictures to put in. However, a lot of the art I got from a place called Game Tea, which do awesome art, and it was like the style exactly I wanted. But everything they do is A3, and to get this kind of vibe, I didn't want everything to be A3. So I also got some like printable things, and I made an A2 PDF and phoned a local print shop and said, do you print A2? And they said, yes. I said, like, what sort of quality? They said, very. and so, okay, I like a sheet of A2, please. And yeah, don't put any margins in. It needs to be exactly this. I've measured everything up. And then like in 15 minutes time, I went and picked up my sheet of A2 and cut it all out and put it in frames. It was great.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
If you want cheap, if you want cheap like photos of art and stuff like that, just get loads of pictures. Like, because often artists will sell the digital files really cheap on like Etsy and stuff, like £2 just for like a high resolution PDF. And then you can get them printed yourself. This whole sheet of A2 cost me like £15.
And the quality was very as well. Which
it was very, yeah, exactly. It was like I went for very quality.
How much quality was you like? I want much.
Yeah. And then I filled all the spaces with that.
I mean, look, you've done a great job. The wall looks amazing. The bounty board on the left looks amazing.
Yeah, they're all like D&D, Fate Forge map, because I'm working on a Fate Forge campaign. So.
I think the biggest thing you've missed off here is the fact that you built the table yourself.
I was gonna
say. I talked about that.
But that
no, it's just a really cool achievement, isn't
that
it?
Star Trek table is so cool, man.
Of the room, isn't it? It's very cool.
This
that
looks
was
like
my project last year. That table,
the poker table, Geordie LaForge and Worf would play on. It's so good. I love it so much. Your passion for Star Trek: The Next Generation has come through on no bounds.
Which is crazy because I've never seen an episode. And yeah,
no, it looks amazing, man. What's the thing in the middle of the table?
That's a token holder. It holds like board game like tokens and stuff. Yeah, it's all modular, so you can take it apart and have little trays, like personal trays.
I mean,
Very
Trips.
cool.
Trips has printed one of those.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
No, man, the room looks absolutely awesome. And you did try and film from there today.
Yeah. It turns out that room is terrible for filming in, which is a shame because I actually wanted to do some paint streaming. But it's all right. I'll work something out.
Yeah, look at the. Well, no, I'm just getting excited looking at your room of cool stuff now.
The shelves are fun. That was a recycled scaffolding, which actually makes really good shelves. If you don't I was really struggling to find like decent sized wood that can hold like A4 books. The A4 is really wide for like a shelf. And yeah, scaffold. It's like super cheap. Get some scaffold wood.
Yeah, we got to see the whip pictures of this of you like staining it and sealing it and drilling holes in the wall and it coming out the wall and
it falling off the wall. Yeah, when I put all those books on, I could see it like bending, and I was just like, uh-oh. And I put a bit of my body weight on it, and it just ripped out the wall. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's try again.
I feel like it's much better
Yeah.
to try that before stacking the stuff on it.
I figured, yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Dude,
that would have happened during the night.
The room looks absolutely amazing. But there's been a bit more amazing hobby on the go. And this is a co-op between the two of you, really, isn't it?
Well, I mean, yes, 100%. Creative director. I'm not even that. I just like Ben paint stuff.
So yeah, what colour do you want? I don't know.
I don't know. Frogs, you just do what you want.
So what we
And
got
then
up
Ben
on
was
screen
like, I've
is
done a frog, and I was like, it's a great frog. I really like it. Do
more
some
frogs. So Milton's got a Slan team, a Punga Slan team. We love Slan. Let's bring them back. Although I don't think it would be unfair to say that when we talk to Jay, the Blood Bowl, he's not is he the lead developer, head developer. I probably should.
Yeah, lead designer, I think.
Yeah, lead designer. Wasn't so excited, I think, about the potential of frogs.
No.
Really poo-pooed the existence of Slan.
His response was unwilling to accept their existence.
I think Slan might. I think they might be gone. But for now, they remain. And Punga have done an excellent team. And Milton now has a wonderful Froggo team, courtesy of Bloodbrush, Cave, Tithe, Cave Tithe.
Yeah, Brush Tithe, the painting wing of my personality, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah. More on that soon. But yeah, no, this was fun. These models were awesome, and I do hope Milton liked them.
No, I love them. They're great. Like I really do. I think they're fantastic. I like how vibrant they are. I know you really like challenged yourself by
that was I googled tree prog.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
no, that's exactly
tree
what they
prog.
look like.
It's and I was just like, okay, interesting. So I got a paint of my shelf, which was like green, and I was just like, they're green. And I put it through the airbrush. I was like, oh, that is very green. I made them like, because normally I do sort of like a zenithal, like this was pretty much white. It was Zenithal still, but they still have some shadows. But yeah, it was like just pure green over pure white and just vibrancy. Yeah.
Is that moot green?
Yeah.
Or
It was actually so it was actually a chimera green, but I mixed it to basically look like moot green, so you could get it a little bit brighter. But I cleaned up with moot green.
Yeah,
So it's kind of the same color. Yeah.
Smacks of moot green. And Milton, I believe you've got potentially some plans to run this team soon.
Yeah, I hadn't actually initially thought that. So we've got Sand Bowl, which is a tournament coming up on the Isle of Wight, and the whole theme of Sand Bowl is like star players. You get 1,200 to mess around with, and your star player can like be included in your starting lineup. So yeah, it's an interesting tournament because you get to like trial out lists you might not elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I hadn't I was originally going to run my Chaos because I've been doing quite well with my Chaos. Well, maybe not quite so good, but we'll talk about that later. And then yeah, obviously I didn't actually have any expectation of Ben delivering these to me, but like when last week he just he handed them over, I was like, wow, okay, they're done, amazing, they look so good, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm really tempted to play them now. Like they really need christening, as it were, on the tabletop, and so I'm thinking Sand Bowl might be the good place for that with a Glottal Stop
The
roster.
double Crocs build.
I think Glottal may be a shark to go with the frogs. So
the aquatic flanty.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a cartoon show that was about like a shark detective in the olden times? No? I'm going to think about this. Oh my God, it was called Sharky and George. It was called Sharky and George. I'm going to find it. Sorry. The Crime Busters of the Sea. That's how it went. Sharky and George. Amazing. That should be your roster name, Milton.
The name.
Could exist.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to playing them. I suspect it's all going to go horribly wrong because they're a more agile team than I'm used to playing, and I've no idea what to do with them. But
it's a team of
and pogo
flying,
stick.
It's a team of flying human linemen. It's amazing.
Okay, I'll work it out. If all else fails, I have 2 Croxicles to stomp things with. So
yeah, there is that.
Sharky and George. There we go. I'm getting somewhat distracted at this point.
Set in the underwater city of Chicago.
Oh, I think it might have just been a fish and another fish that may have been a shark. I love it.
No, Sharky is a rather lazy pink shark. George is the smaller fish.
Oh, man, those were the days. I'd completely forgotten about this show. I think we talked about classic shows, didn't we? And I missed that one off. It's terrible, absolutely terrible. So hobby wise, it's looking pretty sharp. The team looks amazing. I love the Punga Slan team. And I've been doing some hobby. I painted a dude. I painted my squig, which I realised this is not the picture of, which is sad. I left him with Tiff as I went away. She now refers to him as Little Man when he's clearly a squig. But that's fine. I love doing it, and I think I've fallen out of love with Agrax now. Because, I painted it, I did layers, and then I was like, I need to shade this, and I just ruined it. And it went all dark and grimy, and I was like, I don't think I'm John Blanche anymore. So I'm going to move on to Seraphim Sepia, Seraphim Yellow Water, and that'll be my new thing. But painting can be really good for your well-being, and when things are very stressful and very busy, sometimes it can be really beneficial to just stop and paint for half an hour. And actually, Brute Fun is just crushing it with a squig team at the moment, and I've been I don't know if I should be showing this off. I'm sure it's fine. This is most of the month 1 release of his squig/goblin team, and getting ready for the print to pitch video. I'm actually going to try really hard to have it painted ready for the end of the month. So it's been fun to print the model out when he's been ready, and I've got 1 model painted, which I'm not showing, which is stupid. I flipping love it. He's been showing the previews on Instagram and stuff, hasn't he? So I think we're not showing anything that's that's not already released. But there's like a goblin chainsaw. The chainsaw is actually a squig. There's a
I love
ball and
that.
chain.
It's very. I don't know if you guys have watched or read Chainsaw Man, but like that really reminds me of it. I think he went through an iteration of the squig chainsaw where like it had like a mouth like shaped like a chainsaw, like its lips had, like
Yes.
curled around with like teeth like serrated on it. And that was like straight out of like I think it's like Pachita, like it's like this dog with a chainsaw for a face. In Chainsaw Man, yeah, just really reminded of it, but I don't think it was intentional. I don't think he's seen it. I mentioned it and he didn't say anything.
Well, I feel like Chainsaw Man probably wasn't on with breakfast TV like Sharky and George. I feel like that's a very different kind of show.
It's a really good show, by the way.
And he's got a fanatic, which is just a squig like lugging a goblin around, which is wicked. And he's got the hopper model is just magnificent. Have I got it here or is it downstairs? It's downstairs because I primed it because I was good, and that's really cool. And he's got some great goblins here that are just running away. The bombardier looks incredibly like a Zelda merchant. I was looking at the model earlier and I was like, that guy, because he's got like this big bag of stuff. He looks kind of like the Mask guy from Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows the Mask guy. He's got some blooming great goblin models, and he's even gone so far as to provide fungus. The hooligans are actually like fungus drug goblins. So this roster is just a standard goblin roster. Also works for the Squig team from Fumble. Also works as the Night Goblin team from Fumble, and they've got these madcap mushroom addicts. There you go. See, I just start reading off the page in my mind, and that's where the words come from. And they've got this really cool ability. Their standard rules are like Mighty Blow and stuff, but they've got this cool ability that you roll like dice at the beginning of the game, and they might have like really stupid or Mighty Blow +2. And I think it's going to be great. And I know that you guys have been clamoring for some Secret League content, so the fact he's dropping these Secret League things is just amazing because, you know, well, you guys know better than anybody, right? The barrier to playing a Secret League on the table is that they can be challenging to get hold of models for.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and even harder to find friends who want to play them.
Well, I think it's about time that with great models like this that are just like, hey, buy a Squig team, buy a Goblin team that you can use as a Squig team. We can kind of normalize the expanded teams for Blood Bowl.
Yeah, it's a really good idea.
And he's done
a hybrid.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so cool. So this is my little project that I'm kind of ticking over while screaming into my microphone on meetings at work, which I feel like is very normal these days. But that's it for me for hobby. I mean, work has just been horrifically busy for the last few weeks, and you guys will know as well that, you know, taking a day off during the week doesn't really take a day off. You just do 4 days, just 5 days of work in 4 days. So that's why when you like mentioned the bank holidays in May earlier, Ben, I was like, oh no, because that's 3 weeks of 4 day weeks, which on the one hand, like, oh sweet, 4 day working weeks, and then it gets to the Tuesday of those weeks, and you're like, oh no, this is Tuesday and Monday. This is just the worst day.
I'd say yeah, but no, I'll take a 4 day week, man.
Yeah, I love it. Any other games and hobby for you guys?
Yeah. Well, I started painting some spaceships. You printed me the one-page rules ones.
Yes, they're so good.
I've also started work on the Metal Dungeon Bowl College team, but I'll keep stum about that. I don't think we've had any reveal as to where that's going yet, have we? So
no, we haven't. But
no, so yeah, that's in the works. Games, yeah, I've been trying to play a lot more. I've been trying to get in some games before my holiday, and I've just been trying to play more than I have been. I feel like I haven't played an awful lot over winter, and so we've started the Spiky League at the local club, which is crazy. You get a free giant inducement and 200k to spend on stars
in league.
And at first I was kind of like, what is going on? I was really confused. I brought my giant. I brought some stars along, And after a couple of games of it, I realized I love it. It's like it's such a game leveler. It doesn't matter like what your team value is, because all of a sudden you've got at least like 2 extra players, so you've got reserves, and there's so much carnage as a result of it. And like the match just like it just changes it all. And yeah, it's worked out really well, and I'm looking forward to playing some more games of that.
It sounds madness, and I think I think there's going to be a semi theme when we talk about the Warhammer World event. It's that actually leaning into the madness is a bit it's a bit liberating. I mean, we did a whole round, right, of giants for the Bonehead Championship, didn't we? And that was just some of the most outrageous fun. And it was really good to get them to the table and to try them all out. So I am incredibly pro madness and giants. There we go. I found a couple of pictures.
Oh, that looks really good.
That is really cool.
Picture of little man. I had
incredible.
A lot of fun painting this guy. I wish I hadn't Agraxed the hell out of him. That seems like a bit of a mistake.
That looks all right.
The teeth are brilliant.
I tried.
Yeah,
I followed Ian's video a little bit. I mean, my brushes are not the best, but actually, from a distance, I'm really happy with how he turned out.
That's great.
And I'm actually looking forward to painting the whole team, and just having stuff painted, because I thought I had a really good time painting them up. And there you go. This is actually me watching Ian's video. So if you want to know how to paint squigs proper and better than me, go to the Warhammer channel. He's got an entire video on it. And it was the video that was like, and now use Agrax on the teeth. And I was like, use Agrax, and just poured it on the model. And it was just like using a really bad filter. And I regret it. But the reason I came to the pictures is because I wanted to show off Milton's spaceships. Milton's upside down spaceships. Although, can you have upside down spaceships in space?
No. I don't know. I don't know what to do with these. Like the red bit. I'm unsure of. Ian's suggestion was orange, which I think I might have to do. Although I feel like it's becoming a bit of a meme.
Of course, Ian's suggestion was orange. Ian loves 2 colours. In fact, if you watch that Squig video, it's very much about blue and orange. Although I like this ball here, Milton, because it looks awfully like Deadpool. So you might have like I like that. I don't know, maybe like some swirling different colours in the ball would be really interesting.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I need some proper bases for them, so I can actually get them the right way up.
I like.
I don't know. I'm in the mood. I've been binging Star Wars. And
Mando, I'm assuming, has inspired this.
Mando. I watched Andor. I've been watching the Mando as it comes out. I've been watching the new Bad Batch as it comes out, and I rewatched Rogue One. And yeah, so I was feeling a bit sci-fi, so I thought I'd get these out.
Rogue is excellent. Andor is really good, but Firefly is better. Ben.
We need to watch it.
In fact, Brute Fun posted a preview of his troll, and the phrase was, "A man walks down, down the road in a hat like that. You know, he's not afraid of anything." And I was like, I know that reference, and it is in fact from Firefly. I was like, yay! So yes, watch Firefly and Battlestar Galactica. Now, I know that we all played a ton of games, so shall we move over to the big one, Blitzing Sevens? All right,
let's do it.
Let's ride. Okay, so we travelled north of Hampshire for the first time in a little while. And we went to the weekday Warhammer Blitzing Sevens event at Warhammer World. Now, this was this was awesome. And I know when we saw this, we got really excited. And from talking to the guys at events, this is a really interesting one. Sometimes stealing a day in the week significantly easier than stealing a day at the weekend. And that was kind of the lesson for me, was I was like, my weekends are precious things. Like, I see my wife, but on a random Thursday, she's at work anyway. So it's like the pressure is off, and I should have been at work and the pressure was off. So I was like, oh, this is wicked. So we booked it. We booked 4 tickets. Trips then got himself, he's just a very busy and very successful man. So at first, wasn't able to come. So put a little post in the group being like, anybody want to come play some sevens? And Rick, good guy Rick, was like, oh yes. So we trooped up to Nottingham, me, Milton, Ben, and Rick, to play some sevens at Nottingham. And I mean, I don't know where to start about this. This is just going to be a really feel-good romp.
Well, we actually went up the day before.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
So is it worth talking about the day before? So we all left off after work. And yeah,
we all booked a couple of hours out of work.
Yeah. Traveled up and booked into our hotel. It was quite a journey, wasn't it? It was like 4.5 hours, I think.
Wow.
Three and a half.
That was only because the sat nav took us on a wild ride.
Yeah, but we got there in the end. We got to Nottingham, checked into our hotel, and we're just like, let's hit the pub.
Massive shout out to Rick for driving us in the Rick.
Yeah, huge shout out. Yeah, it was fun to go up together. And yeah, we got to the pub and we are just like, oh yeah, let's just have a drink. And it was like, okay, in this pub, pub food. Oh yeah, £5 wine Wednesday, and we're just like, okay, £5 a glass for a wine.
Ridiculous. We went to the bar and we were like, Rick was like, can I have a large glass of wine? And the woman behind the bar looked at him and was like, that's going to be £5.80. And Rick was like, that is absolutely fine. She was like, but it's wine Wednesdays. First of all, love the alliteration. I was like, well, I'm sold. She was like, it's wine Wednesdays, so it's £5 a bottle. And it was just this split second of kind of us looking at each other, and then straight away we're like, okay, we'll have 6. And we did have 6. And oh boy, we had
6
some more as well.
I was
going to say there was. I don't know. It must have been about you towards the end of the night was shimming off 4 bottles of red to the other table. That was at least before the rosé, and there was probably So I think 8 bottles of wine between the 4 of us was reasonable. Especially as Milton was like, oh no, I shouldn't drink.
Yes.
So more.
Well, that went out the door pretty quickly.
Oh, peer pressure.
Oh dear.
It was Oh, this was fun though. This was really fun. It's nice to like do something like this because normally when we're hosting tournaments, we don't. It's difficult to sort of let loose like the night before or the night after, just because you got to like prep the next day. So it was just nice just to be like, you know what, screw it, we can come last tomorrow or not, and we'll just have some wine. It was good. It was good fun.
It was amazing, and I've got to say, I think Ben, you're bang on. We don't get to do that very often because it is that day before a tournament is like, it's a high pressure thing. It's a case of right, okay, we need to pack everything because we need to make sure it's there. In fact, normally the day before the tournament, we've already done one trip with all the stuff and set up a bunch of stuff already. So it's all kind of like, right, all we got to do now is go to sleep and turn up tomorrow and we're ready to go. So just to be able to just come up and have no worries was absolutely amazing. Plus, something I thoroughly enjoyed, we had a 4-hour car journey, then had a 15-minute break, and then went straight out for dinner, and then continued to talk about the world for another 4 hours. And I cannot stress how lucky I am. And this is something I said to Tiff. I was like, I had a great time. Like, I got to spend 4 hours chatting with my friends, and then when we got there, we continued chatting. I was like, so we spent 8 hours putting the world to rights, which was better, I think, than anything in the world. I mean, it was quite interesting. I'm not going to go into too many details, but Milton, I don't know about you, but I think one of the highlights of the night was when Rick and Ben were sat having a really in-depth conversation, and you and me were just sitting back on the other side of the table with our wine. And
if you had popcorn, you would have. We're just there, just like I don't even remember what we're talking about.
We were just
getting really into it.
We were just watching it, and we were just sort of going, time will tell.
Yeah. Milton looked at me and he was like, well, how do you feel about this, Ben? And I was like, oh, you know what? 5 years ago, I was Ben. Now, I'm Rick. And you just looked at me and you were like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. It's what's happening.
Such a good time. Such a good time.
It was so good. The bar had a slushy machine, which we didn't use because obviously £5 bottles of wine. It wasn't your typical Blood Bowl evening. Obviously, if you go to a Blood Bowl event, you have some beers and you have a really good time. Well, we went up and we were like, we'll have a glass of wine with dinner. That was the plan. We'll have a glass of wine with dinner. It just turns out that at a Hungry Horse in Nottingham, a glass of wine is more expensive than a keg. So So we did the keg thing. Then I don't know what, we turned in about 11 o'clock. I think we apologized profusely to the bar people who brought us some pretty reasonable food, except for Milton, your
Yeah, that was I don't know what happened there, to be honest.
mushroom mess.
It took forever to come out, and it was like, yeah, it was wrong, whatever it was.
It
But
was
I needed
wrong.
something to soak it up with. So
We had a good sharing platter, and then we all turned in. I mean, we all had our own hotel room. It was fine. It was Premier Inn, so it kind of had some fancy lighting in it, and the fancy lighting kind of took away from the random patches of damage across the room. But you know what? The bed was comfy, and Family Guy was on the TV. So no, American Dad was on the TV. So I was happy. So I got back to the room, phoned Tiff. Tiff found it hilarious because I was very drunk, gentlemen. And then I had made myself a cup of tea before bed because that's what I do. And then woke up at 6 a.m. thinking, oh dear.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is like, you know when you're kind of like, your vision is a little bit laggy. It's what I imagine you see, Ben, when you look at any console. You know, the frame.
Yeah, vision was in 30 FPS, and it's just unacceptable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I had low ping at that time in the morning, and then Milton was already up, like from, I don't know what, 5:30 or something.
yeah, I watched Mandalorian. I was happy. Just wanting breakfast at that point.
But we'd agreed that we were going to be 8:30. And as has been pointed out to me by my wife, I get like a little bit weird about timings. Like if she's like, oh, we're gonna go at 1, then if it's 2 minutes to 1 and she's like, should we go? It will really upset me. Not like, I won't get like angry and throw things. I'll just be like, well, you said 1 o'clock. It's not 1 o'clock. Why are we going early? Is everything okay? I can't understand. I can't cope with this. We said 1 o'clock. And so when it was like, Rick was like, I'm gonna go for breakfast, and Bilton was like, I've been up for 2 hours. Let's go eat. I was like, I've got 7 minutes. I've got 7 minutes. What is this? Anyway, staggered down and had a breakfast.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never had vegan bacon before. That was new. What you learn in Nottingham, eh?
The place to go. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fine.
I didn't realise you
how
went for
much was
vegan
that?
bacon.
Yeah. Well, I don't eat pork, so I thought I'd give that a go. I've never had it before. It was all right. It was nothing like bacon, but it was fine. It was nice. I enjoyed it. It was filling.
I struggled. I struggled with the morning breakfast. The morning tea was good, and then I had an apple, and the apple was just like the best thing I think I've ever eaten. But the plus side, I think we all made it without being too poorly. And then by the time we kind of got in the car, I think we were all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cured.
I mean-
Absolutely cured.
You went missing, Ben, because you were
I needed time.
Because Rick went to find you. Because we were like,
I
we've
needed
lost him."
time, mate. Yeah.
So it was cool. So a really good night. Hung out and did all the stuff, which was really good. And then, the excitement of like driving to Warhammer World for the first time in, I don't know, an absolute age. I mean, last time I went there was, to take Ian to be a stranger from the internet. And I don't know, Milton, did you say you'd never been before?
Never been. That was my first time, yeah. So, I mean, I've been in and out of Warhammer for what must be the more than 20 years now. It's kind of scary, isn't it? In some way or another. And yeah, Warhammer World's always kind of been a bit of a dream, but I spent most of my life on the island. It's always been a bit of a distance. So yeah, going up there it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, getting the visa probably quite challenging.
Yeah,
man.
It's all the expenses, isn't it?
It's 28 years I've been playing Warhammer now, which is horrific and terrifying.
Wow.
I know. How old have you been? Oh my god, I'm not sure. I may have been playing Warhammer since before you were born.
Probably.
Love that
Probably.
sentence. It was the worst thing at work when I finally started recruiting people and bringing these these guys on board and realizing that I had been working in my current job for the same company since before they were born. And I remember being recruited and the person being like, "Oh, I've been working here since before you were born." And I remember thinking, like, I'll be dead before that happens. And then all of a sudden, I've recruited and hired all these people that are younger than the Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, "Oh no, it's me." It's me. Anyway, miserable sidetrack. We went to Warhammer World and we did the nice little drive, and I got to see, not technically a tank, but an armed fighting vehicle, which was very cool. And then the lovely security guys came over and said that we can't film things.
That was cool though. So the security guys came over and they were like, yeah, excuse me, what are you...
They were wonderful.
You're Bonehead Ben from the Bonehead Podcast. And they knew you, and that was really cool.
It was such a cool thing. I mean, first of all, you got the statue, you got like the tank, and it's just like when you turn up at the venue, it really is something special. I was trying to explain this to Tiff, because my mum and dad remember taking me when I was a kid, and my dad absolutely loved it. And he was like, "Oh, did you go? Like, is it still the same?" He was really enthusiastic, and Tiff was like, "What? Like, I thought it was just you just went to play games." And I was like, "It's like a theme park. It's like a theme park for Warhammer." And I showed her the pictures of like Bugman's being all decked out like this Tudor hall thing, and the whole hall being castle with just a lighting rig that I've just look at it, it's beautiful. And then you got all like the cool parapets, and just it's just an absolute sight. It's just so special. The whole place, it's just a flipping castle. Oh, there you are, lads. Getting all warmed up, ready to go. And yeah, so we got to go to Warhammer World and turn up, and it was all very much how I remembered it. A little bit smaller than I remembered it, but then
it always is. Yeah, every time you go, it feels smaller each time. The first time you go, it's like, oh, that's huge, and then it's just like, yeah.
Oh, is this it? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's. I mean, look at it. Like, we had 28 Blood Bowl players, so that's all these tables, and then you had basically the same again for casual gaming, and then a little space at the back. So it's a massive hall, right? You could fit a ton of full-size tables. Well, they've got a ton of full-size tables in there. 1, 2.
You just rock up and play as well, like it's a local shop. Like, it's just a thing you can just rock up and do. Like, it's really good. I think you need to book a table. But
Entoyment is amazing, but it doesn't look like a castle.
Yeah.
I don't think Pete would mind me saying that, but to be fair, Warhammer World doesn't have a QR code where Carl can bring you tea at the table, which I have to give a slight edge to Entoyment on that one. Like, this one looks nicer, but Entoyment has Just Eat for tea, so I can't knock that. Anyway, we rock up to the place, we say hello to Lurtz, we wander in. I mean, we've already been queuing by 20 minutes for this point, and this was when the day started to get awesome, right? We pulled up at the car park, like you guys said, we had a little chat with security, and then some of the guys in waiting outside were already talking Blood Bowl, because it didn't open until 10 a.m, which was, and the event started at 10 a.m, so it was 10:30, I guess. So I thought they'd be open earlier. It would have been nice to go in a little bit earlier and mooch about, but I mean, I don't think we would have made it, chaps. So I think that's probably it's probably right. But no, we had a great chat with everyone outside. Special shout out, I think, to Chris Fitzsimmons, who's a big he's a big poster on the Blood Bowl community. He's absolutely mad about Minotaurs, and he was there massively repping Chaos Chosen. And I was like, Milton, you got a guy here, and that was really wicked. And then I mean, what were your guys' first thoughts, like, rocking up here to play Blood Bowl?
I just thought it was an awesome welcome. Like, just all the people we saw. It was really cool to see so many just like really enthusiastic people. We just like, hey. And we're just like, hey. And it was just so easy to chat to everyone. Huge shout out to all of everyone who came and just made it really homely. Like, it was instantly so easy to settle down. Yeah. I was worried we'd sort of go. I was really worried we'd like sort of go and it would just be sort of like, I don't know, because there was a couple of people we knew were going, but we didn't really know a lot of the people. Like, there was some who we didn't know who were going, who were not like tournament regulars, is what I mean.
Our tournaments.
Our tournaments, because the different locations. We weren't quite sure like what the sort of vibe would be, like how it would sort of cross over with the tournaments that we're more used to, and the sort of feel. And it was great. It was great. Who knew that wherever you go to play Blood Bowl is, really welcoming and everyone's lovely and super good.
You wait till Spain.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah.
I think that was a spot on description there. I think there was an anticipation of like how the atmosphere was going to be, and I think like normally the tournaments that we've run and everything, the Sevens day is normally super chill. Generally, because it's the second day, there's a few less people, and like we tend to have a pretty decent atmosphere, I'd say, of everyone kind of relaxing and everything. And I know that this was just one day. It's at Warhammer World. It's like a big thing. There's people, like you said, there were some familiar faces. There are people that we know quite well.
Oh yeah.
There were some slightly less familiar faces, although people we talked to on the Discord maybe.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple of people that were completely new, and that was really great because you kind of got a little bit of everything, a really nice like mix of people. So it was really great to see everyone. But the vibe was great. Like everyone was super chill. Everyone was really there just to play Blood Bowl and enjoy and have a really good time. And everyone mixed in and chatted, and it was great.
I think everyone was just there to hang out at Warhammer World.
Yeah, it really was.
And play Blood Bowl. I think that was, and I mean, you guys have called it out pretty well, I think. But we do tend to have I think a great vibe at our tournaments, but it is very much tournament first. Because we allow to facilitate a really well organized event so that everyone knows what's going on, so they can relax, but they know what's happening. But that event feels like first and foremost. I got told off by the event organizer because I was in the bar with Jay at one point. And it was like, oops, yeah, round 3, my bad. It's really cool because it was very much like a hangout thing. Now, rules set, it was a Sevens event. We had 4 games. It was 600k TV, and the skill pack was it was essentially the Sevens league rules, but without the bad bits. So it was after each game you had a Milton, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you
could choose one for a random primary, or you could random for a random secondary.
That's right, random player, random secondary, or chosen player, random general. So we oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Well, for me it was random generals every single time. But like, we normally have a tier-based skill package that people can prep and practice for and kind of construct their list around that. And this was very much a case of bring 600k's worth of stuff and things will happen to your team. And I think from the offset, like it was a non-NAF tournament, so it's just, none of that kind of in the back of your mind. It was just a case of, I'm going to play Sevens, we're going to get some random skills. And this is going to be, I think potentially kind of like in our thoughts about the event, but that the comp element of it was, I don't know, second, maybe even third in the ranking of the day of like what we're there to do.
Totally, yeah.
I mean,
I didn't get the competitive vibe from anyone really.
No,
maybe top table last round, but
second to last round I think was the thick one, and we'll talk about that in a minute as we kind of go through the rounds. But the rules pack was light. This is just come along and play Blood Bowl, which I thought was, I don't know, really helped me because we don't get to travel much for these kind of events because, like I said, weekends are, Milton, you've got a kid, and TIFF works every other weekend, which means it's really difficult for me to want to give up my weekend with my wife if I'd only get to see her for 2 days in a row every fortnight. It's kind of like, well, I'm still at the point in my relationship where I massively enjoy being around her, which is wonderful, and everyone kind of looks at me funny when I say that, but it's really good. I don't like giving up my family time, and it must be challenging for you guys as well. So the chance to like properly sneak away for a night, for 2 days basically, with a goal of just hanging out and playing Blood Bowl was amazing, and the rules were very much secondary for that, I think.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Yeah, like my attitude towards the rules pack, and we'll probably go into this a bit more as well, was like I mentioned it before, like I've been playing Chaos in the local league, Chaos Chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Been having a lot of fun with them. I painted the team up. It's been I've taken random mutations the entire way through on my Beastmen through League, and it is played out beautifully. And so I thought, well, I'll keep going with that. And so I was like, I'll just play with whatever I get. Like, I'll just make it work. Like, there's not too many mutations that are that bad. I've got 3 Beastmen, and I'll give them the mutations one each round, and it'll be great. It'll just work out. And that was kind of the attitude. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, I'm there to have fun. I'm there for the experience because, like, as I said earlier, Warhammer World was a completely new experience for me. And yeah, obviously we were there for the tournament, but there's like other cool stuff to do at Warhammer World.
Oh, dude, it was a holiday, right?
Yeah, like the exhibition and everything is incredible. If you've not been, you should definitely go just to see that. That's really good.
Did you find the assassin?
The assassin?
Did you get?
Yeah, we didn't tell you about that. So in the giant scene, the giant Space Marine Corn scene,
the big city battle.
Yeah, that one. They hide an assassin every day in a different place.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
If you spot the assassin, you win the assassin. I don't know if that's still
I don't know if they still do that.
Maybe they don't still do that.
I'll be honest, I didn't really have that much time to do it because I was going in between rounds and I was like doing a room between rounds. And yeah, I probably wouldn't have spent too much time looking for an assassin.
That room is amazing. The best way to describe it is a Warhammer version of the Hogwarts model at the Harry Potter like Hogwarts movie day thing. It's monstrous. It's like a 2-story.
It's a diorama, that's 2 floors.
Yeah,
it's just amazing. Like to build such a thing would just be a dream. Talking about dream jobs, the event was actually run by a couple of lovely guys whose actual jobs are to run Warhammer events. So I had a lovely chat with one of them in between rounds. I was like, look, is this like legit your job? And he was like, yeah, man. Like, I run events. I was like, that is just so cool. It was like, never run a Sevens event, never really run a Blood Bowl event during the week before, so this is kind of exciting for us to do. So I was talking to him about the schedule, because I said, look, mate, I love the schedule that you've done here, because it was 10 o'clock registration, and then basically game 1 at 10:30 for an hour's time, which is what we do for Sevens, because actually most of the time that's more than enough time, and then a half an hour break between that game, and then an hour, then a lunch break, in between 2 and 3 of an hour, and then half an hour between 3 and 4, and then half an hour between game 4 and the awards. So it gave everybody that extra time to hang out, to chat, to mooch around, to go and look at the models and stuff. And I sort of said to him, like, I love the pacing of this. It's like Milton, you already said, like when we have our Sevens days, they're way more chill. You give everyone a little bit more time to just relax and unwind and stuff, and they gave him more time here, and it was perfect for what it was. So I kind of was like, how'd you come up with round timings? He was like, don't know, just happens. And I was like, cool. Well, cool.
That's good.
Well, good job, because it was perfect. Anyway, should we talk through our rounds?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should probably talk about rosters. Milton, I feel like you were taking Slan.
Yeah, I could have done. had them in the car. Yeah, that wouldn't have gone down well, would it, for anyone? No, so as I said earlier, I brought Chaos Chosen for blockers. I want to say they're called
Warriors.
Everyone I played called them something different. They're either warriors or blockers or
I think they're Chaos Chosen blockers is the official name.
Okay, yeah, cool. And 3 beastmen and 1 assistant coach, I think. Yeah, I think that was it.
As a very solid build, not the Minotaur build, is it? But yeah, it's fine. BT, how about you?
I dug out my nobility, and I went with the 2 bodyguard, 2 blitzer variant of nobility with a desperate measure.
No ogre. What? Oh, guys.
My ogre is 3D printed.
Oh, that is a very, very, very fair point.
That is why I
did not. That was definitely a consideration that I had going to the event as well. As you guys,
you painted a rat ogre, didn't you?
I did. I'll actually grab a picture of that really quick because I didn't chicken out like these two guys. I took a big guy in my roster. I went with a gutter, a thrower, a blitzer, a rat ogre. Come on, what's that? Do the thing. And 3 line rats with a couple of assistant coaches to round it out. Now, I mean, normal. I don't know if I don't know. We did 7 Super Series, right? And the Underworld Rat Ogre was just really great. And when we did the Bonehead Championship, the patrons demanded that we had the Rat Ogre, so we got to play a lot of games with the Rat Ogre as well, and it was really good fun. And because of that, in my league game, I've been running a Rat Ogre, and it's been really good fun. So it's kind of like, all right, I think I am actually converted a little bit on the Rat Ogre, especially for sevens, because all you need him to do is mooch up, get in the way, drop that prehensile tail, and just wrecks your opponents, because that getting that cheeky well, hey, a 2+ dodge is a doddle, right? 3+ dodge is something you don't do unless you got a reroll, and it's massively different. So yes, you're right. I found the model that the Games Workshop model, and gave him a very quick paint job with my lazy boy painting method. I used Seraphim Yellow Stain on this guy, and I think it's a little bit nicer. It was a quick job. It's fine.
Very nice.
I was happy with it.
Does look good.
I was reasonably happy with it. Yeah, that was my roster. There was a lot of Skaven teams. There was a lot of Norse teams. There was a lot of Chaos teams. It was a good mix, and we went into game 1, and that's the hall. This was my game 1. I took a photo of it, and this was the kickoff here. This was against Fred, running Dark Elves. I think it was Fred. I will double check the best coast pairings.
Pretty sure it was. Yeah,
I think it was Fred.
I played him second, so
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I had Fred, then Matt were my first 2, and it was flipping Dark Elves. And Dark Elves in 7 are a very good team, and I got to brew it up. There you go. I forgot to I felt a bit weird about recording stuff, so I only took a couple of pictures of everything. The first half was absolutely cracking for me. I was 2-0 up going into the second half. I was thinking, like, this is cool. The scoring of the event was a bit higgledy-piggledy compared to what we'd normally run, but we'll talk about that in a bit, because I think we've got some mixed feelings of, between fine and really good, which I think is cool. So I kind of went into the second half, having played and got really lucky in the first half there, including a really dodgy dump-off situation. So I went down, scored, then got really lucky. It was either a blitz or a high kick or something, and it just meant that I could pressure the ball straight off the bat, and got a cheeky blitz in, dump off, rolled a 2 with the tackle zone, which made it wildly inaccurate, so that kicked it off. And I'd only activated with a couple of players, which meant I could just go and swoop in, grab the gutter, run off, do a screen, scored the second TD going into the half. And Fred just played like a proper bruiser in the second half, made some brilliant plays, including a nice like chunky stretch play as well to get the TD. And we ended up going 2-2. And I was feeling pretty happy. I was like, do you know what? A 2-2 draw, that's great for my first round. And it was a really good game. Really good fun. I gave the Bonehead dice to him as like hey, this was kind of something we all kind of individually kind of came up with. So we gave the Bonehead dice to our opponents, like case of here's the traditional ceremony of handling of the dice. To which Fred, cheers, I won't use them until it's time for armor rolls. And then, riggedy wrecked.
Yeah, thanks for that. I used them against me and did pretty well.
No, it was a great game. I was feeling pretty happy with my 2-2 draw. Who did you guys get paired up in round 1?
I had names. I need to remember names. That was terrible. Milton, go over to you before me.
Well, you were like here somewhere, weren't you?
It was
Tom Heather.
That was it. Tom Heather. Yeah. Absolutely lovely guy. He plays in their local league. And he was running High Elves, which I was cursing throughout the whole game. So I made so many 8+ armor breaks. I was like, if you were just the other elf flavor.
If you were proper elves, you'd be dead.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a really tough game, actually. We both scored. It was a 1-1 draw, and we both scored in each other's receiving drive. I got a wizard, my desperate measure, which was amazing, and removed a player and knocked down like 3, including the ball carrier. I did get pitch invasioned on turn 1, so I lost 2 turns in Sevens, which sucks. And so yeah, the wizard kind of made up for that. So essentially, the first half was kind of a turn, which was basically 4 turns. It was really, really short. Did a kind of an ability thing where he had the ball, he boxed up, said, "I'm just going to risk the wizard." I said, "Cool, I'm going to use the wizard." And yeah, the ball got knocked free, and I managed to swarm it. And when my players got up again, and yeah, I took it, and he struggled to get it off of me. The ability are really hard to move on a sideline, especially, and the ball was right near the sideline, so I can't just and so yeah, that was that. And then when it went over to me receiving, he did elf stuff. And I rolled a lot of 1s and a lot of skulls, and it was very sad. And there was a moment where I thought I had the ball clear, and it went off the pitch, got thrown in. He had a player. My player managed to recover it. He then blitzed my player, took the ball. So it was just 1-on-1. I said, "Well, that's okay. The rest of your players are all over there." So I went and blitzed this ball carrier and rolled double skull, and it was just like, you're 3 squares away from my end zone, and that was that. So yeah, it was like any result, but a double skull would have probably been all right. So yeah, it was a bit of a shame. Yeah, but other than that, it was a really solid game.
I love it. So Milt, how was your first round?
Yeah, my first round, I had a really fun game. So I was paired up against, let's get names because otherwise I'll forget.
Richard Unwin?
Richard Unwin, yes, with his Snotlings. I think he was the only person to bring Snotlings. His Snotling roster was actually quite fun. He had the Troll, the Bomber Flinger thing, this guy on the stilts. I can't remember their names.
Stilties.
Yeah, that one. I can't remember what his 4th positional was, or if he even had one.
Did he have a hopper?
That was...
The beanbag kind of Stan's dad from South Park guy?
I think he might have done, yeah.
I love it when you get my references, Ben.
That's good. Yeah, so I kind of I must say, I saw a first round paired up against Snotlings, and I was like, all right, I'm optimistic about this. This could go all right. Yeah, didn't go the way I expected it to go.
Snotlings can mess you up, can't they?
Well, you know what? Fair play to him. He brought a really fun list, and he played really well. And I diced myself enormously. So I mean, I was getting 3 die blocks with horns and with the strength 4 everywhere. And I think 3 of my 3 die blocks resulted in my guys in the knockout box. And there was a point where I thought I was going to get pitch cleared by the Snotlings. I think I had 2 guys left on the pitch, and he went for the score, and I think saved me there. But yeah, that. Yeah, I think it was a 2-1 loss in the end. Wasn't too bad, and it was just really fun. And it was just silly stuff like the bomb. It's the bomb took the troll out in the end. Although the bomb was actually really quite good.
Man, flingers,
flingers
are awesome.
Clearing the strength 4 and kind of creating those paths and kind of stopping me from doing things. But yeah, I think the most grueling role was the Beastman had the ball. There was 1 Snotling, I think, and I only had 1 thing that I could do left, which was to blitz with the ball carrier and then score the touchdown. And yeah, I think I 2 skulls, 1 both downed it.
Yeah, he's Evans.
And then casualty the Beastman.
Nice.
That was it. Yeah, I think we got, what was the kickoff? The one where it goes forward a turn. So we kind of lost the turn in the first. Yeah, timeout in the first round as well. So it went quite quickly. But yeah, it was really good fun. I had a lot of fun in that one.
Now, for completion's sake, Rick brought elves, proper elves, the kind of elves that would have died to Ben. And his first round was a guy called David, who was running wood elves. And he ended up winning 2-0 with 3 casualties, which did score him a bonus point. So Rick was the only one of us to win in the first round.
Wow.
But it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. Then we had a nice little break. And that was kind of a really great opportunity to just meet some other people. And it was just so wicked. Just in between rounds, we had Andrew Primack, he was up, who's just an absolute legend of a chap who came up from Brighton. He always comes to, he came down to Beachhead and had a great time. He's a brilliant patriot. He's just such a lovely guy. It was great to see him as well. And we got to chat. Papa Z was there as well, and Chris, and it was just a really good time to just catch up. I got to meet Steve Cross in person, who is, everyone knows him as the Zug guy, and he had a team of Zugs ready for sevens, and it's just so good. I was just so happy to be like, oh, Steve, it's so cool to meet you in person. And he was just, and I have to say this about everybody I spoke to that whole day, he was just the loveliest dude, and it was just so nice. And then it was a case of like, oh, we've got a Blood Bowl game to play. And we went into the next round. Oh, I forgot about this picture. I rolled double sixes on armors, followed by double sixes on a casualty against Dark Elves. And I was like, that never happens. Take a photo of that. And then went into game 2. This was against Matt, who was also running Proper Elves. And I think he drew his first round 2-all as well. So it was a really cool one. It was lovely to chat with Matt. Beautiful orange elven team, and he was kind of like, well, I tried to paint them to look like my favorite baseball team, but they came out looking like the Denver Broncos. I was like, ooh, okay. And he had number 7, who's John Elfway, and it was just wicked. Now, after my first round, I took a random and I took a general on a line rat. That was my strategy, was the best odds for a decent skiller on a line rat. So we've done this in League. We did this in the Bonehead Championship as well. And I rolled tackle on a line rat.
That's pretty good.
I was thinking, sweet. Block is probably the only skill I would have rather had. And tackle is going to be useful. Not a single piece of dodge on this roster for the elves. Because obviously elves don't have dodge. They gain it when they choose it. And that was not the case. In this case, the sidestep guy took a random general and had sneaky git in the end, which again didn't really come into play. And this was just a proper good match. I think it was, I think maybe I scored, then he scored, then I scored, then he scored, and then I had a couple of turns at the end to try and swing it to take a cheeky 3-2, but ran out of turns. We had a riot or something like that. It was a really good game. That's the candid in the Discord, which was really cool. But it was a really solid game of sevens. That's my next round, and I had a great game and a great chat as well. I think this is I think Matt was saying this is only his 3rd game of sevens ever. And it was just a really cool one. And again, I came out of this one like, I was like, okay, another 2-all draw. I was like, you know what? That's respectable. I'm fine with that. Like, I'm scoring TDs and having a great time and a great chat. And I actually got a couple of casualties. The Rat Ogre was just magical. Failed a couple of blocks in both my games. He did the both down a couple of times. He even raged double skulled at least once on a really easy blitz. And I was like, you know what? You can't fight that. But most of the time, it was a case of the opening move was I declare a blitz on Ben's table with my Rat Ogre because I'm not actually going to punch anybody, and I roll a 2+, and then he wanders over and bases 2 or 3 players on the line of scrimmage on the other side, and those players are just committed, right? Because they're going to have to take a 3+ or a 4+ dodge to get away, or try and fight the Rat Ogre. I was like, well, this is magic. Like, it was a really effective strategy, and then it just gave me at least a free 2 to 4 die block on the follow-up turn. So it was a case of like, they can leave people in base contact, they can take bad dodges to leave to get away from him, or and then next turn I can just have a crack at a punch, and with frenzy you can kind of just use it to push and screen with him with prehensile tail in the way. So if I went up left, I could block a guy and just kind of frenzy push around to just tie up that line of scrimmage with prehensile tail. It was brilliant. And the Roger, despite his failings, did a really solid job. So I was very happy with that. So that was my game against Matt for round 2. Who did you have, BT?
I had Fred. So you played round 1.
Yeah.
I played against the Dark Elves. I actually lost pretty bad. It was a 2-0 loss. But it was not terrible because I did get the 3 casualty points. I took out all of his linemen. I like killed the lot. But against Dark Elves and Sevens, that's still dealing with 3 blitzers and a runner. So yeah, it was pretty brutal. So yeah, I was removing a lot of players, but still, elves don't need many players to do stuff. I was really struggling to get the ball off of those blitzers. He was doing amazingly well at keeping my key players tied up.
Yeah,
like knowing I can't like easily dodge out. Oh, the skill I had, by the way, from round 1 was break tackle on a bodyguard.
All right,
which is pretty good. So I was just like, first turn 1, right? Okay, you've based my bodyguard. So what? I've got break tackle, 2+ dodge. He rolls a 1 and dies. I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, don't have to worry about that skill. So I was a bodyguard down for the whole game, which really didn't help. And then he was really good at keeping up the other one. And when like that's your like wrestle piece, and then dealing with if he's kept on the floor or based and can't dodge away, dealing with 3 blitzers is really tough.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't get the power dice, really, was what it came down to be. What I did, just against the lineman.
Do you know what we're doing good?
What?
Having an ogre, I reckon.
I know. The whole time I was just like, man, I need the strength 5. Yeah. It was, yeah.
How did your desperate measures play out?
Oh, that turn? Right. Here's where it gets spicy. So that time, was it this game? Oh, that might be no, it was this game. It was this game. I had the free pass one. Where you can just...
Was it Razzle Dazzle?
Yeah, Razzle Dazzle. Yeah. Where, if you're not aware, you can, once per game, declare a pass. It is automatically successful and automatically caught by a player of your choice. It can be intercepted. Which happened, I think, to Rick. I think Rick intercepted someone's Razzle Dazzle.
Oh, yes, yeah, he did.
Yeah, and that's really powerful. It's as powerful as it sounds. And I've gone out of focus. Mysterious.
Oh, you
there
have,
we go, I'm
yeah.
back.
A ghost.
And yeah, I never used it because it came down to the point where I was in a position where the only way I could equalize was if I scored the touchdown there, then got a timeout, and then scored another touchdown, which would have been doable. Because I was basically on my turn 5. So I could score on my turn 5, have turn 6, get a timeout, get another turn, get 2 turns to score. I said, in my head, I don't know, I feel like this makes no sense in hindsight.
Or a high
But
kick.
in my head, I said, yeah, or a high kick. I said, okay, I'm in a position where I can just do a handoff, a 3+ reroll handoff to score. Because it was catching.
Yep.
Then that means I can keep the Razzle Dazzle for what is ultimately going to be a much more stressful turn, where he's going to do everything to stop it. So I'll keep the Razzle Dazzle for that. And so, okay, so I'll just do the handoff now. Rolled a 2 into a 1. And then that was the game. And I didn't get the timeout, and I didn't get to use the Razzle Dazzle. So I just feel like I should have used the Razzle Dazzle, guaranteed 1 touchdown, kind of denied the opponent the clean sheet bonus. But yeah, I don't know. It was a risk thing, and yeah, it could have paid off really well. And I feel like taking the option which could have paid off the best, is still probably because I didn't really lose anything.
Because definitely, giving yourself the option to roll the riot, pop the ball, pick the ball up, and then that be automatically able to pass it straight away for a TD
and automatically catch it. I could just run into tackle zones and just catch it. Yeah.
Oh man, brutal one. Milton, how was your round 2?
Yeah, I played against Simon. I want to say Bolf. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This was, I voted this as my favorite game. So firstly, I rolled Monstrous Mouth on my first Beastman, which I went, okay, that's fine. Interestingly, I haven't had this mutation on my KS team for League yet. So it's not one that I've used in kind of play before, but I was like, okay, it's a reasonable skill to have. Probably use this. Didn't come up in this game. And so by the end of the game, my optimism towards my tactic was dwindling. This game was against Necromantic. I think he had, I'm trying to get this right,
2 werewolves.
He had flesh. No, sorry, he did have 2 werewolves. Yes, he had 2 werewolves, a flesh golem. Is that it? I
A
don't think you
white,
can fit
probably.
anything else in. Oh no, and a white, yeah. And
There was
then
a
some
couple of
zombies.
guys running Necro, and I think they were running the same roster.
Yeah, well, no spoilers. I played Necro in the next round too, but it was a different roster. So,
Oh, okay, magic. They were
yeah.
both running 2 wolves, though.
Yes.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
got to run 2 wolves. They're just too much fun, especially in sevens.
Yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah, I don't know. This game was nuts. So, in the first half, I had the advantage, and I was pressing the advantage, and I think it was like turn 3, and I got a beastman with the ball in completely clear in running distance of the tackle. It was running distance of the end zone. Needed a rush. Of course, I failed the rush, didn't I? Ball goes off the pitch, comes halfway back down. We've got a bit of a scrum going. Ball kind of bounces back between people. Yeah, that was a bit crazy. And then I really struggle with passing. I don't know why. I guess it's just because I've always kind of played the heavy bashy teams and just feel safer to cage and then like hand off. But the blockers aren't that bad. You know, they're 3+ edge. I mean,
Blockers
that's
are
not
great, man.
horrendous.
They're a
I was
little
looking at
slow.
it. I was looking at it, and I was like, okay, I have a chance to score here. Basically, my chance to score is jump onto the ball, which is in a tackle zone. So I think it was a 4+ pickup, and it was a 3+ dodge out, and then I could only get so far, and then it was a 3+ pass and a 3+ catch. And I succeeded it for the touchdown, and I was super chuffed. I was like, yeah, that was definitely worth doing. And then he kind of, and this is kind of like the weird thing. So because of all the strength 4, I was kind of, and the high armor, I was kind of anticipating in my games that I would have good survivability. But I was never on the winning side of the armor rolls. And so, like, in every game I played, like, my team was just dwindling by the second half, and that made it really difficult. And so, yeah, with the werewolves movement's crazy, and it just got to a point where I think I was just trying silly stuff. I was just like, right, this beastman's on the line, but I'm just going to get him up and try and jump him through every tackle zone with a blitz. Because I've got no other choice. Because all my players are at the other end of the pitch or in the knockout.
Sometimes it works, right? And you
exactly.
only need those plays to work once, and you can line it up for a touchdown. It's so good.
But yeah,
I actually think Necro are a bad matchup for Chaos in sevens, because they just get outsped, they get out resilienced, and the wolves with claws just. Yeah, sets up really profitable blocks.
Yeah, it was using those wolves against the blockers to bring the armor down, and using the speed to just get around me. Because trying to catch him and then like setting up in a way that sort of blocked my path. So I was having to make all of those dodges and those jump throughs. Really, really well played by him, and it was a really great game. I really enjoyed that one. I had a lot of fun for the 1-1 draw.
And down on table 1 was our friend Rick, our driver, who played against our friend Chris.
Yeah, Greenskin Phil.
Yep.
What a game.
That was the game that was palpable on table 1, and we all finished our rounds, all started chatting. Everyone was like, oh, let's go see if we can grab some food at Bugman's. I didn't make it that far. I ended up just talking to people like for the whole hour, but that game was going on, and they had a proper brawl. Rick snuck out and got the win in the end. I think he was 1-0 or 2-0 or something.
Not to mention
2-1.
Before that, he forgot to do his skill. So I reminded him and I said, Rick, did you do your skill? What did you get? And he's like, oh, I haven't done my skill. So he goes, probably pick general and alignment. And rolls in, gets blocked. Classic Rick. Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so they had a proper brawl, but it was so nice to see 2 of our kind of like wobble guys on table 1 and having like the definitely the match of the round there. And Rick ended up going 2-0 into the lunch period and over to round 3. And that was the other shot. I got Tom in round 3. Now, Tom was wicked to talk to because he kind of works at Warhammer World. There was a couple of guys there who kind of, I guess they're contractors. He's like, oh, we're always here, but today we're going to play some sevens. And he had a flipping Skaven team with a very cool gutter runner from the Underworlds kit. It's because I saw this a couple of games before. I was like to the left of me, there was this gleaming green flying gutter runner, and I was like, ooh. And I got to play against him. So he was running Skaven. I didn't go for the rogue. I had 2 blitzers, a thrower, and a gutter. And I was like, ooh, it's mirror match time. I rolled a random skill on a lineman after round 2 and got Dauntless. So I didn't bother with a skill ring for this game because he had no strength 4. So I was like, well, I'm just not going to confuse myself. Can't remember what he had. I cannot. His gutter runner had something. I can't remember what it was. His gutter runner had frenzy. That was it. And I forgot about it, and immediately got my gutter runner surfed in the first turn. It was absolutely brutal. I mooched up, and by turn 2, I had 4 players on the pitch. By turn 3, I had 3 players on the pitch, and it was horrific. And I managed to pull out just complete Bravo Sierra. The ball ended up from the far side of the pitch, and I just went over there, blitzed, and then moved the thrower up, got like a 4+ pickup, and just hooned it to the end zone for the touchdown. And all of my KOs came back. And I was like, I got completely away with that because it was horrific. Misplay by me, and it just snowballed like you wouldn't believe. He was well happy because he was like, oh, I got frenzy on a gutter runner. And then his gutter runner immediately frenzied off another gutter. So he was like, well, I've won now. That's it. I've won. I was like, Tom, fair play. But it was a properly good game, and I think I won. Come on, what was the score? I think it was a 2-1. It was a 2-1, and there was just a ton of Skaven toing and throwing. It was brilliant. Sevens is so good with some fast teams, some maneuverability. Every team they just need a little bit of an opening, and you can pull out some real crazy shenanigans. And it was just a properly good game. And I was just in my element because I was like, hey, I can't lose because it's Skaven versus Skaven. So even if I lose to a Skaven team, I win because of Skaven. So I was really happy. But I did manage to sneak out the 2-1. And I was like, yeah, cool, right, okay. And you know what? Now I can't go below 500 for the day. I can't. I've got 2 draws and a win. If I lose my 4th round, I will go home, break it even, and I'm happy with that. But I got a couple of casualties, got a couple of TDs. I was like, yeah, this was really good. A really good match. And I rolled a skill, and it was wrestle, I think, on a lineman.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, all right, Dauntless is good. Dauntless is good. Tackle is good. Wrestle is good. I was like, this is shaping up to be quite nice. The Rogue did okay stuff. When the Rogue gets going, he gets going. And with this Skaven roster, that attrition, if I can win the attrition on this one with the Rogue, it just kind of snowballs as well. So I was really happy with the lucky recovery. Tom played a brilliant game. He just got a couple of bad dice. The thing is with Skaven, one team has bad dice for a turn, then the Skaven team has good dice for a turn, and then that's a touchdown. And that's just really exciting. It was an absolutely brilliant game. I had a wonderful time. And that was my round 3. Then...
Yeah, my round 3, I played against Stu Miller, who was running Norse, I believe. Yes, he was running Norse, and very well painted Norse. And Stu was lovely. I had a great game here. I couldn't tell if Ben was frozen.
No, I was looking at. We were using Best Coast pairings, and it's not.
Yeah,
it's not super quick.
It's not. No. My second skill I got from game 2 was Brawler, which genuinely I never used throughout the whole game because it never came into play.
Yeah, sevens.
When you got wrestle pieces as well, sometimes I'm using there were times when I could use Brawler, but I want the both down in that case. Yeah, so it was weird. This was a tough game. I did what I usually do, and I'm just like, okay, that's a problem, and the problem was the Valkyrie, and my desperate measure for this game was the strength 4 drugged up guy,
Nice.
who I got on the so I put down a blitzer. I had a strength 4 blitzer, which was awesome.
Griff.
Yeah, strength 4 blitz with catch is pretty good. And so I was just like, okay, cruise missile, Valkyrie, turn 1, took her down, but didn't take her out. And I think I really committed that player too far away from where everything else was. And I think I got a little bit tunnel visioned. I forgot that having strength 4 is really, it makes your nobility playstyle way better off of the sort of KG control match. And I should have just done that. I was too, Chaos Dwarf Skaven mode. Yeah, so yeah, it was a tough game. I took a beating. I think it was a 2-0 loss. Didn't really do much either. But Stu was incredible with it. He let me actually take back a thing because I forgot about, I turnovered and he went to begin his turn. And I said, actually, do you mind if I re-roll that? He said, I said, oh, I could have re-rolled that. He said, and then I said, no, because you rolled the armor. Never mind. And he was just like, you know what, just re-roll it. It's fun. I said, okay, I'll re-roll it. And then, yeah, we carried on. And I mean, nothing changed, but it was nice. And he was a very nice guy. Yeah, great game. Yeah, I think he saw me getting battered a lot by the dice and the team. And he was just like, take your re-roll. It was one I got through brilliant coaching. But, yeah, my strength 4 guy never left, though. I think my other positions did. I think I was down to the strength 4 guy and 3 linemen. Yeah, by the end of it. So,
oh, bless you. I mean, at least you had a strength 4 guy.
Yeah, that's true.
The
skill I earned after that game as well was
really good, apparently.
Safe pair of hands on a blitzer.
Oh, ugh.
I did not do too well on the skill front.
That's like the shadowing, isn't it? It's just like.
But I did use it. I'll come to that in game 4.
God. Wow.
It's the only skill that's worse than dump off. Milt, who did you get in round 3?
I got, I want to say the name right here, Jordan Tivy. I want to say that's how you pronounce his surname. From our conversations, I believe he also worked at Warhammer World.
I think Jordan, they worked together.
Yeah, because he was telling me that the Necro team that he was running sits in one of the cases there, which is really cool. It's
That's
a really nice
amazing.
Necro team. Yeah, it's very cool. This game went very well for me. This was the game I won. I think it was a 2-1. Yeah, it must have been a 2-1. 2-1 win for me. The skill up I got at the end of the last round was Disturbing Presence.
3-1, Milt.
Was it 3-1?
According to
yes, it was 3-1. Yeah, it was 3-1. 3-1, yeah. Which I wasn't wildly enthusiastic about, although I kind of had it in my head. Like I said earlier, I was leaning.
Not enough? Oh, no, the skill you weren't enthusiastic about. I thought you meant the 3 touchdowns.
No. Oh, no. The 3 touchdowns was great. No, I like that. No. The skill before going into the game with the Disturbing Presence. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, look, there's a lot of Skaven teams, there's a lot of Elf teams, there's potential for a lot of passing. This could come in handy for interrupting. But yeah, again, didn't use it. Didn't use Monstrous Mouth, and I kind of feel a bit like Ben. Like my skills were just, didn't really come of any use. So it was like playing round 1 again, but against a skilled up team, and that was interesting. But yeah, no, this game kind of tumbled for me. So the first half was quite like a bit of back and forth, and then we were quite slow in the first half. I think we kind of finished the first half at about the 45-minute mark. So we were quite slow on that, and yeah, I started to get some casualties, started to clear a path, and then I think we were sort of 1-1 at that point. And then that second half, it was just boom, boom, 2 more touchdowns, got it through. Yeah, had a really good game there. It was really good fun, and Jordan played really well as well. I think my dice are just a bit better. That's just the way some of those games go, isn't it? I just think the casualties kind of worked in my favor on that one. And it allowed me to cut the pars. And I guess the thing, I mean, it's so funny about the disturbing presence thing, because I mean, I wouldn't say that Necro are particularly a team that passes, are they? I mean, zombies can't pass, and the wraiths can't pass because none of them have got any hands, right? So it's not going to do very much, is it? But yeah, he utilized the werewolves really well. But yeah, kind of thin the ranks and got through on that one.
Nice. We had Rick still sitting on table 1. He played against Jake, running Dark Elves, and Rick just went full Rick and 3-1'd him with a casualty. So at this point, we're kind of, us guys sitting mid-table, having a wonderful time, and Rick is sat there still on table 1. I did go up to him and just tell him he was just being proper lazy. I was like, look at us, Rick. Like, come on, I know you've driven all the way here, but, you sat on, move around a bit, poor guy. And yeah, so we went into round 4, and I mean, we'll talk through our matches, and then we'll kind of. I love the top table situation for this round. It was wicked to see, but I got the highest. I got the day. I got to table 6, and I played against Chris Brown, and I had a really good chat with Chris over lunch as well. Oh yeah, that was a fun situation. And this is the really funny thing is he was either on table 6 or he'd put his stuff on table 6. So I came over to table 6. I was like, "Oh, Chris, how'd you get on, mate?" And he's like, "Yeah, not bad. Did this, did this." He was also running Skaven, so Skaven. And we had a really good chat. And then we both kind of started looking for our opponent before we kind of realized. I was like, "You're Chris Brown. I'm playing you." And he was like, "Oh, okay, amazing," which was really funny. Yeah, so I just genuinely was just having a chat with him, and I think he was having a chat with me, and then we were kind of realised that we were both waiting for each other to play, which was wicked. And he was, I think he was running the same roster: a pair of blitzers, a thrower, and a gutter. A really lovely Skaven team, and it was a proper Skaven shootout. I ended up winning this one 3-2. And it was just full Skaven shenanigans, 3-2 with a casualty. It was just brilliant fun. We had everything. We had cheeky passes, we had end-to-end sweeps, we had a blitz, a high kick. It was just a really exciting game. The Roger did all right again. He wasn't stellar, but he was just a threat, and then actually getting that prehensile tail everywhere was good. Dauntless again did nothing, but wasn't too fussed. Tackle did all right. Wrestle went out first turn of the game. He had a strip ball guy, a tackle guy, and a blue for block guy, so he had a pretty good amount of some nice randoms on the Skaven team. But it was brilliant fun. We had a really good chat halfway through the game. He was showing us Howling Griffin's army, and I was like, "This is just so good." It was that kind of event, right, where actually you would just ended up having a chat with people, and it was so good. Skaven shootout. I won it with a 3-2. I was really happy. I was like, okay, well, you know what? 2 wins, 2 draws, and I beat Skaven both times. So I beat the mirror match, so I can be proud of that. I beat Skaven, and it was just a really good game against a really, really lovely guy. And it was just a wonderful kind of finish for me. I was just really, really happy with how that went.
Yeah, it's good. For me, I was
trying to find you. Oh yeah.
Bottom table. Yeah. So after this point, after a draw and 2 losses, I was on bottom table, and I was facing off against David, who Rick had first round.
He did,
the Wood Elves. Poor David was not having a good day. He was getting his Wood Elves. He just came up to me and was just like, "I hate Wood Elves. I really hate them." And we're just setting up his team, being just like, "I hate this team. I hate him so much." And I'm just like, "Oh, it's good. I'm glad it's starting positive."
Oh my God! I just saw the score.
It didn't help that. Yeah, the end of score was 3-1. These Wood Elves did break.
I hate Wood Elves. Let me help you with that.
There was a time when he was moving out like a play, and he was just like, I could leap there, and I was just like, yeah, that's cool. He's like, "Yeah, but leap's just so bad now." Just like, it is.
No, it's not. You just got to choose your moment real well.
Yeah, but at that moment
leap
was not
gives
it.
you a 4+ opportunity, and with a reroll, that's excellent. When you
didn't
don't have
one.
rerolls,
Yeah.
then it is a little bit suicidal.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was just a brutal battering. The nobility did what I expected them to do, like earlier. And yeah, what was my desperate measure that time? I can't remember what I got that time. Come to me, but yeah, it was. Yeah, brutal game, but a good game, and David was lovely. So, yeah,
Not a bad way to finish.
Stuck it through. Yeah, I gained 10 places, I think, from that game. So, finished 18th rather than bottom, which was all right.
Mill,
Yeah.
how about you, man? How was the final round?
Well, I got battered. Is probably the best way to describe it. I played
this was against
Ian
Ian
Booth's Corn team.
Oh, Corn, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was the slightly. I mean, it's interesting because he had the Bloodspawn. Of course, that instantly outstrengths my Strength 4. He's got the Frenzy in there. But more than anything, I think Ian took absolutely every one-die block he possibly could and succeeded with it.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
amazing.
think there was a single point where he failed a one-die block he took.
Hey, dude,
And yeah,
if
I just
Corn
got
is
out
on your
back.
side, I mean, you do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he did it. And yeah, all that like frenzy was just like, okay, yeah, I'll take the frenzy one die. The thing is you're having to do a lot of one dice because of all the strength 4 I had.
Of course.
So, but yeah, it paid off for him, and I just wasn't able to maintain it. And I think we kind of had a bit of a trade at first, like a lineman for a lineman, and then he just started knocking my guys down, and I just had no defense for it. I just couldn't control it, and the frenzy pushes and everything, yeah, it was just brutal. And there was a couple of times, there was a few moments, and I think there was a moment that I made the decision to play it safe, which I think was the correct calculated play, but probably wasn't the fun play, which would have actually been better. So he'd frenzied himself onto the edge of the pitch, and I probably should have used my blitz to push him off, which would have evened the kind of like amount of players on both sides.
Sounds
But
like a
instead
greed blitz, Milton. We've been there before.
Yes, I know. But instead, I kind of just ended up flopping my ball carrier into the middle of nowhere and getting smacked about. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a fun game. I had a good time. Ian was lovely to play against, and it was just one of. We ended in like 30 minutes. I think we were the first people to finish that last round. It just went very quickly. It was just. Boom, down. Okay, you stand up, next turn.
Getting wiped will do that to you.
Yeah.
Now, the top table in round 4. So Rick had been there since round 2. So game 2, game 3, and game 4, our buddy Rick is on top table. Now, Rick was on the top table for 2 rounds 2 and 3, our last streamed tournament, I think. Bonehead Bowl, and it was so good to see Rick on the top table, and there he was back again, and he was up against Lord Zug himself, right? Steve Cross, which is awesome. So in my little world, my little Blood Bowl sphere, I was like, oh, this is a celebrity clash, like this is amazing. Like this is like, you know, as you grow up as a kid and you're like, who would win between Superman and Batman, and you're just like, I don't care. It was very much like this. I was like, oh, who's gonna win, Zug or Rick? And we came over and they were like exhausted and they had a heck of a game. And basically the story as I heard it was they had a great first half, 1-1 draw. Second half, Steve running humans scored on turn 12. All right, turn 6 of the second half, went 2-1 up, had 1 turn remaining. And was just like that, you know, at that point, both of the guys were like, this has been a brilliant game. They set up. They roll the kick. It's high kick.
Oh, no.
And the Elven catcher mooches into the neutral zone right next to Steve Cross's line of scrimmage, catches the ball and just dodges out, goes straight in for the equalizer. So the turn 12 1-turn touchdown equalizer from Rick there to go tied on the top table. I'm gutted like that wasn't streamed, because just what an incredible moment and an incredible game. And they were both, and all the, because you know what top table's like, right? People start crowding towards the end, just like, oh, what's going on? We did it when Greenskin Phil was taking on Rick at the top table, like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? Like, you guys all right? Oh, it looks very serious. I just wish we'd seen that last turn touchdown. But I mean, what an awesome way to hit it up. And then we all had another half an hour break, had a mooch, had a beer, had a chat. It was wonderful. And then they did the awards, and they did a couple of great things at this event. One was the microphone, and I'm thinking, oh, we need a microphone now. Like, that might have to go on the podcast wish list of items that I don't need, but we really do need. And the second was the fact that because it's in the big hall, they got a big projector, and it is a big projector, and it's so cool. And they got to go through the prizes. So the most casualties was Ian Revel with 8. Then we had Dirty Dan's Filthy Git, which was the most players sent off for fouling, which was Fred, our opponent, Ben, with 2. Now, in Sevens, you don't get a lot of fouls, right? So the fact he managed to get 2 players sent off for fouling is actually quite brutal, I think, in Sevens. This is not Adam Pike or Drew Creedy just putting the boot in all the time. Sevens is a calculated risk. Then you had the best lineman competition, which I thought was really cool. So at lunchtime, everyone could submit a lineman. Oh, actually, you know what? I've got to give it to my old iPhone 10. Oh, it's done a good job.
Yeah.
I've taken that zoom in picture. And Stu won, who I was your opponent, wasn't it?
That's who I played against. Yeah.
Yep. Lovely Norse lineman. The second place lineman was Tom with this beautiful halfling, like some really nice shading and stuff like that. And then Paul Blunt, Greenskin Phil's brother, right? Yeah, got the first place best lineman.
It's a gorgeous team. Like, I think a lot of people have seen this team by now because it's posted a lot. But it's like proper like frozen base Norse team. Yeah, unreal. Huge fan of his painting.
It was really cool. Really cool to see that. Really cool that they called it out for the award. Then we had Mighty Zog's Wall of Steel, which was the least touchdowns conceded, which was Jay Clare. Like you guys said, lead games designer for Blood Bowl. Clearly knows how to play some solid Blood Bowl there. Who also took the second place award. And third place, I've done this in the wrong order, that's my bad, was Greenskin Phil, our buddy, and the fellow wobbler, who was running a very lovely Underworld roster with a Snotling, because he was like, I can't not take a Snotling. I've got to take a Snotling. And the Snotling did very well. Managed to grab third place, which was amazing to see. And Rick took the McMurty's Fair Play Award, which was
the guy who wrote the rules.
You've missed one there, then.
Oh, it's coming up. I couldn't take a photo of it because I was going up and collecting the award. So Rick actually won the day, went and won the event and the sportsmanship trophy, and he was personally
very good going.
Yeah, really chuffed, because he said that the bloke who gave him the award said, person who wins the tournament doesn't often win the sportsmanship as well. He was like, so great, and that's just such a cool moment for Rick to actually go to the Games Workshop land, play in the Games Workshop tournament, and absolutely win it. And me being Skaven, I'm a Pringles. I never got a chance to eat those Pringles. I did win the most touchdowns, and I was really happy with that. It kind of got to round 2, and I was talking to people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like 1-0 or 2-1," and I'm like, "I got a chance here." So you're saying there's a chance? And because I like Skaven. I try very hard to score lots in Skaven, and I did it. I was really happy with that. And then we got the whole ranking up on there. So Rick was first with 7 points. Jay, Chris, Steve, and myself, and Chris Fitzsimmons all with 6 points, with the tiebreakers going to bonus points there, but 9 touchdowns. Rick got 8 touchdowns, and I think there was 1 or 2, no, just one with 7, which was Jake. And I mean, we had Jake, Peter, Alec, Paul Blunt, Ian Booth, Andrew Primack, like all the way from Brighton, Ian Revell, Papa Z, you had Fred, James Brown, Chris Brown, Stu Miller, Ben Russell, there you are, number 18, Matt Risby, one of my opponents at 19, Tom Heather, Milton, 21, Simon Bolf, 22, Tom Fox, 23, Jordan, 24, Ray, 25, Richard Unwin, 26, Robert Wilson and David, 27 and 28. And that was kind of the wrap for the score. Oh, that's Ben's table again. There we go. I thought it's a cool table. And I thought it was wicked. And like the highlight for me, well, the highlight was meeting everybody and having so many good chats about Blood Bowl. But 3 wobblers in the top 5.
Yeah, that's good.
Rick
That's very good.
1, Chris, Greenskin Phil 3, and me 5. I was like, yay! Top 3, top 5 wobblers. This is wicked.
Yeah,
very
when
good.
the other 2 are the designer and the famous Zug.
Yeah.
And Steve Cross.
Pretty good, yeah.
And the designer
Yeah.
and his friend.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Now I appreciate we've been kind of gabbing for quite a while, so I don't want to keep everybody forever, but there's kind of a couple of things I do want to touch on. We used the Best Coast pairing app for this, as well as recording the scores on paper. How do we feel about the Best Coast pairing app?
It worked.
It worked. I can see why they used it. They're used to it. It was kind of irrelevant for our day because it was never used for scores. It was just pairings. I mean, it worked. I think if you actually had the scores with it, it would have been better. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still annoyed that I paid $4.49 to look at the rosters, and the rosters are all locked. So I'm like, that's a bit
That's
annoying.
really annoying.
I was like, because before the episode, like Milton took screenshots of the rounds, which was great. And I was like, oh no, look, I'm happy. I'll pick up the subscription for a month so I can go and we can talk through the rosters of the team, what people had actually played, and it didn't work like that. It was all right. I mean, it's not dissimilar to how we do things from a checking out the rounds point of view. Like, we have our information on the website and the TV. You've got it on the Best Coast Pairings app, but you can see what table you're on. Work very similarly. I did like that. Like you said, Ben, I mean, I didn't realise I was supposed to be writing on the sheet for the first 2 rounds. I was just putting it into the app. It wasn't until like round 3, my opponent was like, oh, can you sign the sheet? And I'm like, sorry, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just put it in the app.
And then having to do your own maths on the back.
Oh yes, that was interesting. And then
so you had to like work out your cut points, your bonus points, put it all in on the back, and it was a lot of trust, a lot of player trust.
Yeah, I don't think I think everything was fair and accurate.
Like, I had to give myself like 3 bonus points just to beat you, Milton.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I did feel for was the blooming TOs. I was like, well, I thought it was really good they'd given themselves half an hour between finish up and the awards.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool. I like that. We might have to steal that or something. But then I realised it's because they had 28 players worth of information of 4 rounds. They had over 110 data points, data sets to input, and I was like, "Oof, that is miserable."
Yeah.
I mean, you guys did Beachhead, right? And we had 70 players on the Saturday over 3 rounds, but that was only 35 each round. So, overall we had less information to input over 3 rounds of 70 player tournament than they had of a 4-round sevens tournament for 28 guys. I was like,
yeah,
that's brutal.
Big overhead, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean,
it worked, and I don't think there was a single problem. As in, like, I don't think there was a single complaint. Nobody had any issues running the app. Nobody had any issues submitting their information. Okay, it was a little bit confusing, and maybe could have been a bit better communicated about filling the sheet out. But
to be fair, they did tell us all at registration. I just was then like, I've put it in the app. This is fine. That was that. So that was entirely on me. And I got more appreciation for some of the things where I'm like, we have to remind coaches to like write their name on the bit of paper and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like, I just merrily went my way using the app and not telling anybody anything. And I'm like, okay, lesson learned.
You're one of those people, Ben.
I am, apparently. We're a Warhammer world, having great conversations with everybody. I get it. I'm not gonna lie, like, I was just super hoping that the app would be amazing, and we could be like, "Ooh, this is going to be so much easier for us," but not quite what we need. And then just can you imagine like translating the data to the miserable system that the NAF uses? Utterly miserable system.
Stuck.
I mean, I'll just build an XML converter. It's not a problem. Anyway, we won't be changing what we're doing, but there's definitely a couple of things we can learn from it. And the second thing I wanted to just chat about with you guys was the actual rules set. Because, you know, we don't often get a chance to play in tournaments, really, because we're always TOing. And this rule set, without a skill allocation, without a tier allocation, with just random skills, with no NAF rankings or anything like that to worry about, oh, God, it was just amazing. It was amazing. It was like those days where you really don't know what to cook, so you just find things from the freezer and chuck them in the oven at 180 for 20 minutes and then cover it with ketchup. It was magical. It was beans, fish fingers, smiley faces. It was wonderful. Tempura prawns just because you got loads. It was magic, and I loved it. And I know that it wasn't a cohesive kind of competitive set and the scoring system, which we'll bring up and talk about as well, but I personally, I don't know, it was just like I think
I'll tell you what, this might help. What I got out of it was a really fun day and chill day of playing Sevens, and I think that's what we wanted from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I got a competitive gaming experience out of it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I have to 100% agree with you there, Ben, because effectively I played game 1 4 times because my skills never came up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
literally,
Not really any like...
there were other people playing game 4 while I was playing game 1 again.
You mean Rick?
And like, yeah, exactly. You know, like Rick rolled some fantastic skills.
Block, and short hands or something.
and the thing is like there was nothing necessarily wrong with my skills. Although I didn't mention the last skill I got, which was prehensile tail. Again, a fine skill, maybe not so great against Khorne because they're not going to be like dodging out, are they? Very much.
Very well. I will punch you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you know, I kind of looked at it and I was like, well, Necro Khorne were my kind of pre-level up things, and I was looking at it, I was like, half of these mutations are literally useless against those teams. Like, they're not going to be in play. Like, so, yeah, maybe it wasn't the best strat. Maybe I could have looked at going somewhere else.
General skills would have been better.
Yeah, it would have probably been a better choice. But regardless of that, I could have still rolled rubbish in general skills and just, like, had nothing and played game 1 again 4 times. And look, it was fine. But you were spot on there, BT, with, like, I wanted to have fun. I had 4 really fun games. But I didn't get a competitive experience out of it because I just felt disadvantaged as a result of the pack. And I feel like that's fair.
I think it was as advertised, and I think we knew that going in, and I was well on board with it. And because we all knew that, I mean, we've all been there where we've had that kind of the competitive cloud, right? You get a little bit of rage around the outside, because you know, actually, I don't think there was a glimmer of that in the entire hall. And I think it's because a lot of people just like, I'm going to play, and there's going to be some skills, and it's going to be different, and it might be fun, it might be bad, it might be good. And you just kind of live in the moment, which was very much kind of like the theme for the day. And it's kind of like my New Year's resolution this year was to just spend more time playing games and talking to people and having fun and just living. And I am super happy with the way the event was organized and brought about. It absolutely nailed it for me. The points were interesting. So it was tournament points, 2 for a win, 1 for a draw. And there was bonus points for you got 1 bonus point for scoring 3 or more TDs in a game, 1 bonus point for causing 3 or more casualties in a game, and 1 bonus point for conceding 0 touchdowns. And you know, looking at the pack, you're kind of like, yeah, fine, that makes sense. It wasn't until after round 2, one of the other guys was like, I've had a 0-0 draw and a 0-0 draw. I've got more points than you, Ben. I was like, I've scored 4 touchdowns. Which, I mean, I'm not fussed, but I was just kind of like, they just kind of like, that make a lot of sense. Because they were like, why are you on this table? And and I'm on this table. Like, you lost a game, and I was like, no, 2-2 draw, 2-2 draw. And they were like, bonus points for conceding 0 touchdowns. And I was like, oh, okay, that was not what I was expecting. I mean, it didn't really matter, but
I had a different stance. I actually really like the scoring system. I really liked it a lot. I would have actually preferred it with 5 games, though. I think 4 was a little bit too slim for the scoring system. I think 5 with this system is really cool because the scores were so tight. Like if you saw the ranking again, there was not a lot in it. Those bonus points were the way to win. And like Rick had 3 wins and a draw. Like no one had 4 wins. And it just made this like super tight thing. But even if someone did have 4 wins, some of these points can overtake that. And that's why I think spread across 5, I think you get that granularity and you can start going into your like 4th and 5th games thinking, okay, what do I need to win? I need 0-0 draws to win this. Actually. Yeah. Like 0-0 draws would get me through and you can play for that. You can go for that really defensive and you can kind of shift. And I like that. I think it worked really well. I mean, not if you're bottom table. But...
What I meant to do was run the results through our scoring system.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Just to see the difference. I mean, ultimately, Rick was the only person who went 3 wins and a draw, so he would have won in our scoring system anyway. Because they got
Well, you had a lot of TDs. Yeah, I think you only wanted to get 3 bonus points in TDs. Oh, but it wasn't across the games, was it? It was 9 total.
It was 2-2, 2-3. Yeah. And it wouldn't have changed the winner, which is absolutely fine. But it's just a different way of doing it. And I even really like this scoring system for this event because it really, I don't know, it's not like it doesn't matter, but like it kind of, I don't know, it tones down the pressure a little bit as well, because it's like, oh, we've got 6 points instead of, I mean, if this was our scoring system with 7s, 2 wins, 40 points, 2 draws, 20 points, so 60 points, 9 touchdowns, 69 points, then 5 casualties or whatever it was. So I would have ended up with 74 points, and then maybe someone else was on 73, because we do that because we run 3-game events for 11s, right? So that score needs to be granular every single time. And I think it adds a little bit more, I don't know, visceral awareness of the granular parts of the score. Whereas this, like you say, Ben, was kind of like, draw, but it could be a 3-point draw or a 0-point draw, And I definitely see, there's a gentle elegance to it,
Yeah, it worked. And it was interesting to see. I don't think it ever really felt unfair. The only thing I think was unfair was the skill thing, but we talked about that. It was unfair but fun, and that's Blood Bowl. So
unfair but fun, but it's 7s, and that's how it works.
That should be the tagline on the front of the rulebook, shouldn't it? Blood Bowl, unfair but fun.
Unfair but fun. I think that's about right. Anything else you guys want to touch on?
Oh yeah, one more thing. Sorry, I won't take too much time. It's very late. It was fun to have like chat at the end, and I would say going to a next event, I would actually think I'd stay for another night.
Yes.
Either leave really early, but I think that would just shatter you for the evening. I think I'd do 2 nights and stay, because when seeing everyone in Bugman's,
was
like
amazing.
having a beer, playing like Warcry, playing like more Blood Bowl than some people, and like
they were just playing, it was like boarding actions.
Yeah, it was. It was full. The bar was full of people just having a really fun time with beers and like board games, and it was just like, this is the best. I really want to hang around. We have to go home.
That was going to be my final thing to mention, was just like how awesome it was to meet and chat with so many people. It was so awesome. I bumped into a bunch of a few different Games Workshop staff. Some guy actually emailed me afterwards, Rich from the audio team. He was like, are you, but you Bonehead Podcast. I was like, hello mate, yeah, you're right. He's like, oh, you're the reason I ended up working at Games Workshop. Like,
wow, okay,
got into Blood Bowl and listened to the podcast, and it was just so cool to literally be amongst our people, right? And it was such a cool environment. And the fact is, I'm not gonna lie, I guess it's a bit of a dream. I got to sit and have a beer with the lead designer of Games Workshop, who turns out to just be an outrageously lovely bloke, who was like, guys, you're going to disappear, or do you want to sit around for a beer? And he sat down, bless his heart. I assume that he mingles with gamers, so I assume he knew what he was getting himself in for. But it was very much a case of like, oh, you know,
the interrogation.
you know, like you know, how many of you are there? Is what he asked, and I was like, oh, it's 4 of us. He was like, okay, cool, I'll go grab a table. Let's go have a beer. I was like, fantastic. And then that 4 quickly became 12 because, and that was just awesome. You know, Papa Z came and sat down, Andrew Pribbett came and sat down, the Blunts came and sat down. It was just like this big table of, right, Jay, what happened here? Like, what's the story here? Like, what's going on with this? And I felt both super excited and happy, and also terrible.
I was very grateful. I was really grateful for his time.
Yeah, very
honestly.
grateful.
It was, yeah.
The way he came across was awesome. He's like, you can ask me, I probably won't tell you.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell us anything, but heavily hinted that Slan probably aren't coming back. But I live in hope. I live in hope. Even when we sat down, he was like, right, guys, what team would you want to see in Blood Bowl? And it genuinely looked at me and was like, not you. I already know. I was like, oh, Squigs, come on. And none of you people said Squigs. Even Papa Z next to me, I was like, somebody mentioned Squigs. And you guys were like, oh, Slanesh. At which point it was like, Slan, Esh, okay. I was like, oh, frog people, bring them back.
They're going to be purple frog people.
Well, yeah, tentacly. One thing I feel like, and this is completely Sky stuff. I feel like he was excited when we started talking about a giant team.
Yeah, he did get in.
I hope so.
It's like, how would that work? How could that work?
Yeah,
yeah. The cogs started churning, didn't they?
Like a giant sprue with a bunch of Noblars on it. So actually, you could pick up the giant and have the Noblars for the team. You could pick up another giant, have more Noblars.
Yeah, you know, you want a star giant and some swarming players. Yeah, exactly.
I was like, okay, you know what? So if a giant team lands in Blood Bowl in the future, I feel like drinking with Jay is the sponsor of the giant team. I don't feel like it's going to happen.
Take him out on a Wednesday. See what happens.
Yeah. Wine Wednesdays, Theory Hammer Thursdays, Theory Team Thursdays. But I mean, it was awesome. It was just an absolute hobby highlight. We took time out. We had a holiday. We went to HQ. We saw a massive amount of awesome people. And it was just absolutely brilliant fun. I had a wonderful time. I cannot wait to do it again because too. It was just brilliant.
I will do it again.
Yes,
definitely.
Ooh, apparently, there's some stuff happening in July, isn't there? I need to.
July or June?
Oh, I remember.
They
said they'd announce it in
July,
April,
actually.
so.
Well, fingers crossed. Well, I heard the Dungeon Bowl bit, and I was like, ooh.
It was a 3-day, wasn't it? Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, which
11/7
might
Sunday.
be a stretch, but
I'm there for that.
Yeah, I'll have to see that one. But no, I mean, it was awesome fun. So a massive thank you to everybody who came and said hello and put up with us, as it was awesome. Absolutely,
it was really good.
Right, guys, I think it's best we wrap up for the night. Because it's It's Warhammer preview in 3 hours or something. I feel like.
Yeah, it is actually
4 hours 6 minutes until Epic is announced. So that's very exciting. Or not. Interestingly, this podcast will come out after the reviews. So who knows? Maybe there'll be some excited videos with me going epic, and or a Squig team. So who knows?
No, we all know it's vampires, right?
That is the rumor. That's also
what
been
everyone keeps on about.
It's been the rumor
People
since
are desperate.
They're never coming.
September.
Yeah.
It's like the tree man. It's just going to get pushed back and back and back.
Oh dear.
All right. Anyway, guys, nice to catch up.
Yeah, likewise.
Yes.
Magical.
Good.
Right. Thanks very much, guys, for watching. We'll be back soon with more Bubba content. Happy blocking.